youngest son is Isaac. He was really homeschooled from kinder until grade 4. So we just graduated grade 4 now. This school year, grade 5 na kami. All right. So, okay, next slide. Okay, naghangin yung ano. Ayan, okay. So, today, if there's anything that I want you guys to actually answer for yourselves is the question, why? Why are you going to homeschool? All right. The most important question today is, why will you homeschool? Because once you know your why, the how will be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to homeschool, but what I'm trying to say is the how will be readily available. Okay, there'll be plenty of resources, community who can help you out. So personally, for our family, we homeschooled. You know, my was okay naman, and he was doing well in his traditional school. Our family, it was a personal calling from God. So God audibly told me, you know, your children should be your first ministry. We're born again. And so for us, it's biblical to be the first teachers of our children. So for us, homeschooling is not exactly bringing the work at home, but it's more of intentional parenting. So later on, I'm not here to talk about parenting per se, it's more of the transition, but I would suggest there's so many parenting seminars that are available online. So don't forget, homeschooling is intentional parenting. It's not being a teacher at home, because you are parents first and foremost, okay? For us, more time learning about God, more time with family, and then, of course, more real learning, meaning to say yung pacing niya. If a child is, you know, slow in math, you have more flexibility to teach math until he really learns. Compared to traditional, if they're in Algebra 101 and your child has not understood yet, everyone has to go to Algebra 102. So sometimes the kids end up, you know, struggling, because nowadays the teachers or the schedule cannot wait for a child who is a slow in learning at the pace of the school. But I really do not believe that there's sorry for the term, I don't believe that there's bobo. I don't believe that, because each child is unique and each child has a learning style and a pace for learning. That for sure, I am certain. You know, a lot of homeschooling parents in the last 6 years that we've been schooling. So some of them have actually transitioned to homeschool because of finance. It's a valid reason. For you to send your kids to good school right now, I know you'll be spending $250,000. And I heard from my other friends that a lot of schools, like no naming na lang, parang they did not even decrease their tuition fee, considering everything will be done online and the burden will be on the parents, most parents. So of course, if you're the parents, a thing to consider, parang how come it's still $150,000? I end up teaching everything. All right. But of course, from the school's point of view, you know, they still have to pay their teachers, there's still operational expenses, maybe, you know, so they also have their reason. So finance is something, you know, like, is something to really think of as well, make comparison. Now, today, or a lot of people, it's actually our 5th seminar. The reason why they're homeschooling is because of COVID. So, and I am not surprised. And it's okay if the COVID is primary reason. Okay lang. So can I see a show of hands? Somehow, it's okay. If your number one reason is the fear of this pandemic. Okay. I won't be surprised. And it's okay to start with that. But later on, as you attend a lot of webinars about homeschooling, parenting, I pray talaga that your reason will transition. It's because of the love of children. So if you are firm with your why, the how will follow. Trust me, it's not going to be easy. So later on, you can forget everything that I will say, but my homework for you guys as a family is decide later why are you going to homeschool. Okay? So, review lang para you guys understand is a homeschooler, or what is the homeschool life. So, once you join this road less traveled, which I think is going to be road less traveled by, I think a lot of people are really transitioning because of this pandemic. You will be hearing these two terms. So, especially this independent. So, there are two types of schoolers. Ito lang yung categorize ko, no? Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Yes.
Now, there are two types of homeschoolers. One is the independent, and the other one is with the homeschool provider. Now, independent, when you say independent, they are technically not enrolled in any depth ed school system. Okay, they're not enrolled with a traditional school, all right, or a homeschool provider. They don't have, meaning to say, technically, they don't have LRN. LRN is the 12-digit number assigned by the Department of Education to the student throughout his basic education in the Philippines. So the LRN is sometimes indicated in the report card. If it is not, the student should ask his or her school for LRN. So if you parents are not aware, your child should have an LRN to your school right now. If they don't have, go double check if your school is accredited by DepEd. So do your homework, okay? Now, when I say independent homeschooler, you will meet a lot of independent homeschoolers now, but it does not necessarily mean that they're not learning. In fact, I know a lot of independent homeschool families. They're more rigid and they're really more, they're learning more. There's no schedule of this and that, but they're still learning at their own pace and learning so much more, and they're not stuck with curriculum provided by school, right? So, but right now we will just more on the homeschooler with a homeschool provider. So for me, kasi it's too wild for parents like you who currently enrolled with a traditional school to go independent. But by all means, we will have a talk on how it is to be an independent homeschooler. Kasi yung independent, they don't have LRN, and if they want to go to the education system, if they want to enroll in a they have to take PEP test. So that's another topic, no. So I would that most of you are currently enrolled in a traditional school and you want to transition with a homeschool provider. That's my recommendation. Be part of homeschool provider, because most of the existing homeschool providers have some sort of support. They will process documents for you. At least there's someone to guide you. Okay, so your homework, I guess, is if you've decided to homeschool already, you can get a list. You can research on the list of homeschool providers that are in Apple, and then of course double check if they're part of the DepEd. Check out the requirements and so on. So that's the two types of homeschooler. Now, when I say you are a part of a homeschool provider, most of the homeschool provider will be sending you a list of curriculum. Education, a curriculum is broadly defined as the totality of experiences that occur in the educational process. The term often refers specifically to a planned sequence of instruction or to a view of the student's experiences in terms of the educator's or school's instructional goals. One of the good reasons why you recommend you be part of a homeschool provider, because at least they'll be able to provide you with a checklist, the calendar of activities, recommended list of books. So sometimes they also offer music arts and so on and so forth. No, as opposed to if you go independent, talagang it's your choice also. So if you're creative enough, go ahead and be independent. But the suggestion talaga is, at least you have a guide, especially on the first year of your homeschool life. All right. So there are different ways to learn now. I think we're so blessed that we have the internet right now. 10 years, if you tell me to homeschool, it might have been difficult because, when you go to YouTube, Khan Academy, there's so many free online resources. are really so blessed. It's just a matter. In fact, the internet is so overwhelmed. It's overwhelmingly. It's overwhelming nga kasi there's too many. In fact, you need to filter what your kids watch. All right. So different ways to learn. Traditional, of course. There's the books. You buy books from different local cultures, even from abroad. There's the e-books. There's, like I said, online resources, YouTube, Khan Academy. It's free. There's also paid courses that you can register. Now, I believe in the non-academic, the music, arts, and sports. I believe in those. So I'm sure in your area there are so many parang art school or music school or even tutorial or what have you. So you shouldn't be just stuck in your own home. You can be resourceful or outsource the other subjects from other providers. There's other ways to learn, and this is our way. As a homeschooler, we've been to like more than 30 types of field trips. So later on, I'll be this also our family's co-op, no, the flying school bus. So field trips is a good way to really learn and going to historical places, you know. And now, question: ito yung frequently asked question. What if you cannot teach because for some reason you just don't have the creativity, maybe, or you have you're working from home, you're part of operations, or maybe you have to go to work already, but you want to homeschool. So it's okay to get a tutor. If you can afford, go ahead. There's so many tutors, there's so many teachers right also looking for teaching opportunity. So you can get a tutor. You can be part of a co-op, meaning to say, hanap kayo ng other parents are willing to teach, group of kids. And then I can Facebook. There's so many online tutorial centers. So it's okay. Meaning to say, you can enroll your child to a homeschool provider, and then when you fill up the form, usually it asks there who is the primary teacher. So if even if you're gonna outsource some subjects to the tutor, you will be the primary teacher on the application form. Meaning to say, you will still owe your child's progress. Parang you like my sister who homeschooled this year, so syempre ako, I'm guiding her. So she outsourced her son's math and English, pero siya pa rin the primary teacher. But I suggest, take part in your child's homeschool life. Do not be detached. It's your opportunity to become. It's a bonding time. Yun nga, like I said, it's a parent. Hindi lang siya, okay, do this, do that, as if you're a teacher. No, you're a mom first or you're a dad first. So you have to also have that mindset. So how do you start? So I'll be repeating this as I go along. If your why is firm already as a family, how do you transition? Checklist. Inquire about different homeschool providers. Make sure they are DET accredited. And ask around. Ask around who's enrolled here. What do they like about this provider? What do they not like about this provider? So after that, this is your other thing that you need to do. Once you've once you've decided what provider, ask for the requirements that the provider needs, homeschool provider needs. Make sure that at least whether you're sure to homeschool or not, try to consolidate them already. The important thing that you will be needing from your current school are the certificate of good moral character and the report card. So there are issues right now because a lot of traditional schools are having a hard time issuing. So some of them are doing digital or online report cards. So that's okay. It's accepted right now by some of the homeschoolers. So that's your homework, no? Consolidate the requirements so you don't submit last minute. All right. Now you have your requirements. Enroll and then buy the materials. Most of the homeschool providers know once you enroll, they will send you a list of recommended books. Now, you will hear this or ask this from the different providers. Are they open curriculum? Do they have open curriculum or do they have set materials? When you say open curriculum, it means they allow you, or they'll give you a free hand to choose whatever books you want. Okay? You can buy it from outside. You can buy it abroad or locally. There are some providers, like, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot the name. Sorry. They once you enroll, the materials are coming from them. So para siyang, I don't know kung closed curriculum, that, what's the term there? I don't know if it's closed curriculum, but they have a set of books already for you, whether you like it or not. So I think that's another important thing that you need to ask. For me, what works for me is open curriculum. Personally, as a family, because I want to have the free hand of choosing my materials, because I can switch from different curriculum to other if I'm dissatisfied. So that's the beauty lang of providers with open curriculum. So now, planning your homeschool life. Assume you've already enrolled, no? Find out the learning styles of your child. Now, I'd like to everyone watching to go to Homeschooling for Firsters group. I've been posting a lot of links there to just guide you. You will see a link there, parang free assessment test on knowing your child's learning style. My two sons are kinesthetic tactile learners, meaning to say they learn best when they're something or when they're moving. So once you learn your child's learning style, it can guide you on what kind of curriculum you can buy. Or parang like my youngest is kinesthetic, no? So there's this curriculum called Apologia for Science, and there's so many suggested activities there where he has to build, things using his hands where he can digest his learning. So this will guide you. And then, like anything naman you do, if you're a mom or a dad, planning is key. It's really important that you plan a year, weekly, or even daily. It's just a matter of being the hardest part is in the beginning when you're going to start your journey. We will have a separate workshop on how you guys can your calendar, but we will send you the schedule for this, but we're not here to do that right now. So now, changing the mindset. I can't emphasize this. I'm saying that, okay, right now you think homeschooling is just all the books to your home. But later on, you also have to change the mindset. Why? Because there are so many benefits of homeschooling. It's not just about academics. It's about family. It's about relationship. It's about character building. It's about learning also basic skills. So we want you to embrace the benefit, hindi lang siya academic. All right. So where I had to change my mindset, every day, everywhere we can learn. Take your kids with you to the grocery, when you go to the office, when you go to the bank. Of course, not right now. It's not advisable for you guys to go out. All right. So it's not they're not learning. They're not only learning when they have books. No, they have to experience well. So again, we do not necessarily have to wake up at 5 a.m. This is my favorite thing when my son transitioned. So it's okay to be flexible. Let them wake up at 9 o'clock. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to your family. So when my sons were in their growing up years, I let them sleep longer. Okay lang yan. We learn in our pajamas. We learn we're on the bed while eating, while in the car. When you travel, that is learning. If you go to, let's say, historical places, long ago, we went to Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur. We took a road trip going to the north of the Philippines. We saw a lot of, the old churches, lighthouses. We went to a desert, the sand dunes in Lawag. So, it was learning geography and history. So if you have resources or the chance to travel, go ahead, because the world is our home. And then seize the moment. If, for example, when I switched my son to homes, parang yung mindset ko, okay, every day we need to learn 8 subjects, just like when you were in school. No. When we were doing history, he wanted to read the whole chapter, which I said, okay, sige, read the whole entire chapter today, watch all the videos, because he was so interested with the topic, so that the whole day, it was just history. And that's fine. So parents, you have to be flexible also. So seize the moment. Life skill is as important. By now, your children who have been locked up for more than 2 months should at least know how to make rice, okay? Or fix their bed, or wash the dishes, or cook simple meals like, egg, hot dog, clean toilet, yung mga ganyan. All right? Character builds also important. It's not just about them knowing physics, but them knowing how to respect you, knowing how to obey you, knowing how to be resourceful, knowing how to be independent. Now, do not major in minor things. All right? My example all the time is, I don't even care if my son memorized the provinces in region 1. All right? When we went to Ilocos, I just simply showed him, we're going to region 1. So I showed him these provinces. I just asked him to draw and copy. My point is not for him to memorize the province. My point is for him to understand that there are different provinces, different regions in the country, and that there are different, natural resources. Yun lang. But we don't even have to memorize things. So memorization, I don't ask my kids to do that. All right? So kids learn best when they are happy. Take breaks. So sometimes when it's okay to be like exhausted and parang take a break. Break muna kayo ng anak mo. Okay, take a break. It will happen. I promise you. So minsan, one whole day kaming hindi nag-homeschool kasi break kami. That's fine. In fact, it's my son's birthday, my son's birthday. So birthday week siya ngayon. Wala kaming homeschool. Okay lang. So it's up to you guys. All right. So my last bullet point here is, it's not about checking what they're learning today. Like, okay, you're supposed to rise or understand the planets. No. In your homeschool journey, the objective is to guide them to be self-learners, independent, and resourceful. Meaning to say, when they start working for a company or they put up their own business, it's not like it's important for them to have memorized the 24 senators or memorize the cycle of a star. No, because when they start working, whether they're self-employed or work as an employee, they will be given a new task, right? When they're given a new task and they've developed how it is to self-learn and how to be resourceful and how to be independent, then they will be able to succeed later on in life. It's not like yung boss nila, okay, have you memorized this and that way? Parang it's irrelevant. You're in the homeschool journey. It's not the lesson per se that you're just trying to learn, but you're trying to make them self-learners, independent, and resourceful. So when they are in grade 11 and 12, ideally you're not sitting side by side with them anymore. So later on, my son, I hope he'll be able to share. When my son was in grade 11 and 12, never sat down with him anymore. He was doing all online courses. He had the discipline already how to do things on his own. And you will see online, there's so many resources online, free courses. So the younger kids, definitely, you'll have to really guide them. You'll have to sit with them. For younger ones talaga, like my youngest, no, when we started K2, it was more of play. I invested in yung mga marbles, popsicle sticks, Lego, whiteboard, drawing, paintings. So it was more learning through play. But now he's in grade 4. So there are things that I need to I have to sit down with him and then, for example, let's say, teach him new concepts, like, for example, what are fractions? So when I'm introducing fractions to him, I have to really sit down with him. And then I give him, online links where he can learn more about it. Kasi not be like well-versed in explaining sometimes, and it happens. But I'm the type kasi I want to do everything. So, pero I can be resourceful enough to look for online videos to support that particular topic. And then I'm still the type who buy books. So I bought books pa rin so he can do worksheets. So I believe kasi kahit may online, it would be nice for them to still, learn how to do sheets, because maybe when they're in college, it's still an important thing to do. So yun lang. These are the things I wanted to share. I had to change my mindset. Yun nga. Now, I meant earlier, it would be really nice if you plan a schedule talaga, just to guide you, but you have to be flexible. I am an OC mom. Actually, it's a confession. It's not a good thing sometimes because I get shows. So on our first homeschool year, I even everything on Excel file, meaning to say I bought books. Okay, I'm sure you'll be excited. So I put on the first column all the topics. So I had to type all the topics of yung sa just table of contents for the book. And then when are we gonna study this? So day one, this is what we're going to do. Day one, I really cried hard. Kasi, and it's gonna happen because nothing happened. Meaning to say, your checklist may be empty on day one. So, because you were still adjusting to the transition. So, my advice as early as now, plan, but be flexible. So, the different suggested hours that you be homeschooling your children. For me, ideally, 3 to 4 hours. That's even, breaks in between. That's the time I really have to turn off my cell phone, no work, and give my time in teaching new concepts. But if there's an opportunity for them to watch videos, let them watch videos. But planning is key. So I cannot say that this is what you should do. It really depends on the rhythm of your family. So for a time, my youngest son was more, was more receptive at night. So we would really start homeschool at 6 p.m. Kasi he's kind of a very active child. So in the morning, daytime, he would go out, swim, bike, skateboard, a lot of physical activities. Pero pag burned na all yung energy niya, he's more receptive at night. So I had to adjust. Remember, learning is the objective. It's not about, tapusin mo yan. So there. So like I said, later on, there will be workshops on how you can plan. We will be inviting who can help us plan your schedule and there. So you can also outsource, home economics, science workshops. There's so many. Actually, it's overwhelming because most of the homeschool, of the, how do you say it, after-school programs like coding, robotics, yung mga physical schools right now have set up online schools because, it's a business for them, meaning to say they have to support their employees. So you will be overwhelmed with so many program providers still, Okay. So one thing first, if you have the why, you are not alone. If you decide to homeschool this school year, there's a growing community of homeschoolers. You will not be alone, and that is for sure. All right? There's so many Facebook communities, Facebook group chats. There's marketplace where you can buy and sell. I'll be posting the groups on the homeschoolers for first timers. Now, not so long ago, our family, we set up this co-op. It's called fly bus for homeschoolers. It's an independent community homeschoolers, whether you're independent, newcomer from a provider. So it's a community, no? We usually have field trips and activities. Usually our activities are in Pasig, no? So it's where we invite program providers, we invite coaches, teachers to teach our kids in a community. All right. So it is a place where we can build friendships, learn new skills, and know about God, because there's opportunity for us to do Bible study. Of course, it's optional, no? The history. Because when we started to homeschool, hold on. Okay, we started our homeschool journey on our first year. It was too boring for us to just stay at home for days. This was still before COVID, no? So sorry. Make sure, guys, your microphones are on mute. So on our first year, it was too boring for two active boys to be at home 5 days a week. So intentionally made sure that at least twice a week we would have the time to go outside the house. So I would intentionally go to museums or go to a place where they can learn. So no books yon. But of course, that cannot happen yet right now because of this pandemic. But in the course of my reach of different places to visit, I discovered the Philippines is a really good place for homeschooling because we have so many museums. Go to our Paying School Bus Facebook page. You will see there the different places we've been to with other homeschoolers. You'll be surprised that we have a lot of historical places where your kids can learn experientially. All right. So these are just some of the places in Tagaytay. There's Ilog Maria. For natural science study tour, we've been to Pag-asa, FAQs, Geology Museum in UP, and then this is the best time for them to learn astronomy, meteorology, geology. We visited ABS-CBN GMA to learn more about technology and the history of the two giants. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if I pray that ABS-CBN opens soon so we can visit. For nature awareness, and to La Mesa Dam. Wait, I can hear some noise. Okay, so to learn about the Philippine government, so this is one of our favorite field trips. In one day, imagine, we went to Malacanang, Supreme Court, and the Senate. And once they experience, you visit the library of the presidents, it's now easy to teach them, what is the role of the executive, judicial or legislative branches? What are their roles? See, for them to understand, to grasp, because they've experienced it already. All right. If you're learning about Philippine history or our independence, when our pandemic issue has died down already, go and bring your fans to Rizal Shrine and Aguinaldo Shrine. They have really a beautiful history of our country. We've also had planned tours. We're not even promoting bread or Jollibee or Lucky Me. It's more of them opening their minds to intelligent design. Why? Because the Bible says we are made in the image and likeness of God. So that's how we teach our kids. We want to give them a biblical perspective so that when they visit also, different places, okay, in it for me when I visit Gardenia. Okay, if you're interested in math and science, maybe you can speed up the assembly line. We open their minds to bigger things. So this is one of my favorite museums. No, if this pandemic has been has died down already, I suggest you bring your family to the Rizal Bagong Bayan Lights and Sounds Museum in Intramuros, as if I'm getting anything from this, no? It's a walking tour for 1 hour. You'll be surprised. Actually, try to look it up on YouTube, and you'll be surprised. There are 300 life-size animatronics, parang mannequins, no? When you step inside, it's conditioned, and there's like surround sound system. It takes you from the time when Magellan landed in the Philippines to the Declaration of Independence. So you will be with life-size mannequins with light, with sounds and light and sound effects, and it's as if you're really literally walking in time, back in time. You'll see there the life of Jose Rizal when he was in Europe. You'll see the printing press. So parang you don't have to read your history book. So I suggest you go to this. So because it's a growing community, try to check out if there are homeschoolers, sports club, science lab, carpentry, music club. Check it out in your area. So I'm not sure how many co-ops are there, but I guarantee you that there are so many co-ops. Later on, Flying School Bus will be doing virtual co-op because now of this pandemic, no? So now I'll pause for like 10 minutes and answer questions first. So I'm gonna stop the sharing and try to do muna FAQs, all right? So if I call you, try to unmute your microphone so that your question will benefit everyone here, okay? So I'll try to read first. Good afternoon, everyone. Please monitor the chat screen. Okay, all right. Okay, anyone who has a question, please post your, okay, Mads, is Penyal selling Apgia? For now, I have not seen yet the list of books, but I will, I'm not sure if they're selling Apologia. Yung Apologia that I have came from the US. But I know that Homeschool Global is selling in Ayala 30th, so you can check their website. Okay. Allison. Okay. Allison, can you unmute your mic?
Hi.
Hi, Allison. Okay, Allison is a dad. No, Allison is the name of the mom, but you're the dad. Okay.
No, the name.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, Allison, what's
How
your question?
do evaluations? How do we evaluate?
Yung okay. So as far as Penyel is concerned, because later on, I can only speak for Penyel right now, no. Yung evaluations, meaning to say are you about the report card?
Probably for the test. How do you
Okay.
give tests to the kids?
Okay. Like for me, when I buy books, no, like for example, itong One Country, One People, usually, meron na siyang mga quizzes. May quizzes na siya. And then, I suggest and make sure that when you're buying books, make sure that there's answer key. It comes with the teacher's guide where the answers are, right? So, remember, we're here, it's a learning. So definitely, you give them the quiz right after you discuss the topic. And then you check their work. And then, like for me talaga, when my has like a mistake on some items, especially math, I make sure I teach it right then and there na, okay, you made a mistake here. Can we redo this? Or can we watch again the video on how to multiply fractions? It's not as if, kasi in traditional school, 0 over 10 ka, let's move to the next just because you have to meet the requirement or everyone has to move on. No, our objective is for them to learn because they will not understand how it is to add fractions if they don't even know how to do LCD. Right? So, yung evaluation talaga, if you're gonna be hands-on, upon doing a certain topic, make them take the test. So, it's important also when you buy the books, make sure that there are there are quizzes. And then you make them do it. And then if they don't get it, it's the parent who will do the evaluation. If your child understood, you are the teacher. If it's a tutor, the tutor will know. So talagang you're really involved with the child's life. So, but if you're talking about assessment, there's what ALSAT. It's an assessment test, which basically tells you your child's learning skills, reading skills, or number skills, in reference to the total population right now of the US. Kasi yung from the US. The ALSAT simply tells you where your child needs improvement. If it will tell you on the results na, okay, you're medyo mababa siya sa reading skills. So as a parent, you have to supplement it with more reading materials. So the assessment, if that's what you're asking, is really, the evaluation really on the parent. So, sige, baka Alice, sorry, what's your name? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, but my concern is, so there's no, actually the quizzes, the exams, they're just there. But how does it get to, I mean, DepEd or something like that?
Okay. Okay, as far as Peniel is concerned, so for me, no, this is my second year with Peniel. So let's say every quarter, so I administer quizzes to my son. Kunyari, topic namin is astronomy. So the books I bought from them, talagang may quizzes na siya. So I make him take the quiz, right? Now, if I see that he still doesn't get it, then I stick to that topic until I am satisfied. So when it comes to the doing the grade sheet or the report card, Peniel will have training for the parents to guide you on how to do the grading, if that is your question. And then it's the parents who will do the grading. Peniel will just guide you how to do the grading, but it's the parents talaga, or your tutor. Talagang parents talaga, we are the teacher. And then since Peniel is DepEd accredited, submission of the report is going to be taken care of by the homeschool provider. It's not as if the parent will go to DepEd. So that's one of the services that the homeschool provider provides. That's why I really recommend that you be enrolled in a homeschool provider, because should you transition, if you go back to your career right now, they will be requesting for your report card. Okay, very good question. Are you satisfied, Daddy Allison? Sorry, Allison.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Sorry, what's your name? What's your name? Allison, that's your name.
That's me. I know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Allison. Okay, so you're the first Allison na male. Okay. The stereotype. Okay. Are you satisfied with my question? With my answer pala?
Yes.
Okay. So, si Keith. My grade 4 child doesn't want to join webinar session, every Zoom meeting with friends. She's very shy to learn, using resources online as well as to know other children. She feels lost or less confident about herself to face people. Okay, sige. Where are you, Keith? Are you here?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Keith. Sige, share.
I want her to join yung mga online classes. Di ba may mga nag-offer ng free online class, even Kaya lang,
Yeah.
whenever I ask her, do you want to, for example, she's more on drawing and arts. So there are online classes that I want her to be enrolled. The problem is she always like yung face niya na nag-frown or confused or something na ganon. So parang ayoko naman siyang i-force kasi one time before from the traditional, one of her teachers were they had a Zoom meeting and all of her classmates are there. And we asked her, you say hi to your friends. She just say hi. And then suddenly she was just crying. So we don't know what happened. It's
Okay.
just like a meeting na regular lang na para makita nila ulit yung mga classmates nila. Para lang, since ang tagal na nga the pandemic na nasa bahay lang, hindi sila nakakapunta ng school. Parang di ko alam kung afraid siya or yun nga. Pero kaya niya. I don't know how to encourage her
Okay.
more.
Okay, I think practical. No, if my child was like that, I mean I'm not an expert in that. If kasi rigid yung teacher, meaning to say everyone has to show their videos, then forcing her might really be might anxious anxiety. But if it's like more of like how do you say it, accommodating teacher, if it's Zoom, just tell her to just di ba yung video off? Like most of you are video off. That's my and then slowly encourage her to Zoom calls first with people or kids that she trusts. Yun lang yung parang practical ko muna. Maybe practice with her cousins first just to build her confidence. It's more of yun lang kasi later Zoom is something that is going to be so I think you can work with her by doing, if there are classes right now that she has to join and she's fearful, you can talk to the teacher, pwede bang video off muna siya, just so that, she senses it na, okay, later on, just to build her confidence, and start with the video confidence first with us, like email meeting with her own friends. It's something that she can build up later on. So yun lang muna yung practical advice ko. So it's more of the parenting side. I hope I'm
Hello,
able to
ma'am.
just encourage you. Yes. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. May question po kami ng wife ko.
Sige. Okay, Giovanni.
Okay lang
hi.
po? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please. Oo.
Ang question po namin, nandito po kami sa Saudi Arabia. And we are now in the pandemic crisis. So we decided to put our child in a homeschool learning. So my wife is also a teacher, but I discourage her to teach kasi nga yung issue dahil napakataas po ng figure ng mga effect. So sa grading system, ma'am, I don't know kung na-raise na siya kanina. Okay? I just want to reiterate. Pagka nagbigay kami ng grade sa kanila, i-submit po ba namin yung kay Peniel? Kasi we decided to enroll our grade 3 daughter sa Peniel. Isasubmit po ba namin yung grades kay Peniel on a quarterly basis? I understand all the concept, yung mga exam, evaluation. It's up to us na, pero we will follow Peniel's timeline. 1 quarter is 10 weeks. It's the same structure and report card. How will it be implemented? And last thing, of course, yung evaluation is with us. We will provide the quizzes. We will provide the sit works. It's in the same concept, and I do understand all those things. And it's up to us kung paano bibigyan ng grades. So just want to hear from you, ma'am. And then the final grade, if she is motion or what.
Yes. Okay. So the answer is yes. Submit to Peniel at the end of the school year. Okay. This is as far as last school year is concerned. Once you so like for me, I just finished last June na, no? End of April. Okay, I submitted. So I set up the grades. I filled up the form. I submitted to them just one time. You don't have to submit it quarterly. Although, because it's a new school year, I saw already that the principal already posted that there will be a seminar for submit the grading period. So it will not be a problem. So there will be a training on how to grading sheet. So yun nga, as far as last year is concerned, we only had to submit at the end of the school year. It did not have to be quarterly. Okay, Daddy? And ano sa inyo yan? Covering you with our prayers to all the Filipinos there in Arabia. Okay, Agnes. Sorry, si Mitch, yung Mitch, even if a member of Flying School Bus, we are not really required to avail programs offered. Yeah, so again, I'd like to, Flying School Bus is an independent homeschool community. Still join our activities. A member, it's optional. So if you are a member, you can enjoy members rate. If you are not a member, you can still join. You can be with the homeschool provider, you can be independent. It just so happens that we have a partnership with Peñal, which I will be explaining at the next part of our talk. So, si Agnes, I'm interested in Peñal as well, but we won't be able to go to Rizal. That is far from where we are in Mandaluyong. Will we ever need to have personal appearance, face-to-face interaction? No, you don't have to. So, in the application, everything is done online. Payment is online. So you don't have to go to Peñal personally. You can be from Mindanao and still enroll in Peñal. Kanina, there's someone from Saudi Arabia. They don't personally have to go to Peñal. The advantage, though, if you live nearby Peñal, is assuming operating their traditional school already. Because to be a homeschool provider, technically you have to have a traditional school, no? Affiliation with the traditional school. So Peñal School has an affiliation with the traditional school, so they have a physical building. So if you are part of the homeschool program, I'm not sure for this year, but they've been offering free music PE, but you have to physically go to their school. Otherwise, you have to do it on your own. So that's the advantage. So I hope, Mommy Agnes, are you there? Any more questions about that? I hope I was able to answer. You don't have to. Mommy Susan, you have a question?
Yes. If the parents will be the one to put the grades on the report card, can they give as high as 100? Can they give as high as 100?
Okay. Wait, hold on. So technically, the parent can give. If that is realistic, I don't see why not. Pero ako as a mom, ako personally, I don't think I'll give my child. But yeah, technically, parang yes. Oh, Daddy Phillip has something to say.
Follow-up question. Does Peñal monitor the veracity of the number that the parents will put on the report card? Do they monitor, like, you need to prove, why did you give 100? I mean, are there supporting papers required? Once you give 100 to your child, do you need to prove it? Do you need to present documents on that?
Yeah, okay. So that's it's a valid reason. So you'll see later on, no, especially those who are enrolled or will be enrolling in Peñal, aside from the report card that you need to submit, later on I'll show you, no, you will also need to submit portfolio. So I'll explain later. The portfolio is a combination of all the quizzes and all the quarterly exams and performance task of their time. So later on, I'll show you a sample card, actual card of my son and his performance as well. So that, but yes, there has to be, because Peñal or any homeschool provider is accountable or responsible to DepEd. Meaning to say, meaning to say, hindi pwede mag-enroll, you do this. So there are certain requirements that the parents have to submit to Peñel or other homeschool provider to make sure that they meet the standards of DepEd. All right. So I think that was the additional answer. That's my husband, Daddy Phillip.
Okay, let me just, hello to everyone. I'm the husband of Barbie. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts regarding assessments. You know, in the homeschooling world, many understand that that assessment in itself is very limited. When I say assessment, we really mean standardized assessment, because in the traditional school system, where you mass assess hundreds, thousands, and even millions of kids, the only way to assess them is through what we call standardized assessments, whether they are online or written. The problem with assessments, and you can watch the videos of Ken Robinson on YouTube. Ken Robinson is a visionary educator, is that it is very limited in the sense that it can only measure certain aspects that can be standardized. As parents, sometimes we see things in our children that a standardized test or the formal education teachers do not see. That's why there are cases, so many cases of students who don't do so well academically, but they excel in life, not just in the area of technical skills, but in terms of emotional intelligence, social intelligence. There are people who did not exactly graduate with honors, and yet they rise to high positions in politics and even in leadership. Because standardized test does not cover everything. It may test certain abilities, but for example, social skills. You know, success of a person is not only dependent on academic or the mental ability, but there's also what you call emotional intelligence, EQ, no? The level of discipline, the ability to be patient, the ability to wait, the ability to be tolerant of people. These can influence success in a person's life. And there's, of course, social skills, the ability to relate with people. Just on the intellectual development, for example, music. A person can do very well in music, but that may not reflect in standardized tests. So again, I just want to point out that standardized tests is normally the window in which people in the education world, or all of us, are familiar with. But once you go into homeschooling, you will understand that there are many other ways to assess. Example, if you can't assess standardized interviews. That's why companies, when they hire people, they don't just throw you a test and see if you can answer it. They actually spend more time and give more weighting on interviews. They want to see how the person thinks, how he processes information, how he perceives reality. These are very things that you cannot get in a standardized test. Another one is maybe observation in group settings or group workshops. The ability to work with teams, the ability to communicate, the ability to collaborate, the ability to give and take. You know, there's a good book which I read many years ago, and it's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And you know, the way you measure these things on the EQ side, they don't get reflected on these assessment tests. And other examples, I think in Peñas, they have portfolio reviews. The ability to present information in a coherent whole, even the ability to teach. See, teaching is learning. If a child or a student can teach the subject, it shows mastery of the subject. Rather than just sitting down and take tests, if you can turn it around and teach again, and that's actually a demonstration of learning. So there are many other ways, but these kinds of other ways are not more for the mass testing, but this is something that maybe a parent or one-on-one can use in terms of assessment. Mass testing is only useful when you're doing a lot of numbers, thousands or hundreds of kids. But one thing about homeschooling, we're able to use these other forms of assessment, like, you know, just observation, talking to children, relating to them. And that's where you parents are better off than children. Because if a teacher in a class has 40 students, she doesn't have all the time to see the details of a person's behavior and how they think and how they process. But as parents, because you relate with them every day, you're able to see and catch how they think, but there's the wrong thinking. As Christians, we are very especially concerned about how they think. Is it biblical? Does it conform to the Word of God? So that's why, you know, we try to inject biblical teaching. Okay, that said, I also want to touch on another thing. My wife talked about all SAT tests. I want to clarify, standardized tests, there's so many. When you get a curriculum like a book, often at the back of each lesson, there are assessments, okay? You can take them quizzes and all, and these are just informal. There are also formal assessments, like DepEd is a PEP test if you want to go back into the school system. There are also independent formal tests, like for example, the Stanford or SAT 10 in America, which is been used for the last 80 years to gauge learning. Okay, so it's a achievement test, and it covers the usual math, science, English, and against the U.S. population, you can check how well your son is statistically doing. The all-SAT test, on the other hand, is an ability test. What it does is it does not check your achievement in terms of academics. What it does is it checks your ability, your cognitive ability. Why is that the case? Because one thing we learn in homeschooling, children have different stage development timelines. It doesn't mean that just because they're slow, they're not smart. No, the brains of different children have different development timelines. That's just the way it's built, right? But the problem with the school system is that we force the children through the grade 1, grade 2 to grade 10 levels. We force it because, like mass production, there's an academic year, the teacher has to finish her job. Whether they understand it or not, we force them into the next level. So a child may be very good in math, right? But maybe slower maybe in reading or vice versa. But because of the structure of mass education, everybody has to be forced up, even though they have not mastered the lesson. And that's the problem when you cannot customize the lessons or the curriculum. In the homeschooling, we've seen kids in our homeschool community who are still grade 5 or 6 in reading or in most of the subjects, but are already doing college level mathematics. And they can move ahead. They're not confined to the limitations of the K-12 structure. That way, we have what you call a customized education where they're able to move ahead if they've mastered it and continue to stay and develop and master the areas that are still needing development. So all-SAT is a good test for gauging whether a child is ready for maybe grade 5 reading or grade 5 math. So that we don't end up, for example, investing so much books and time na ipopok nyo yung kid, and yung pala, they're not yet cognitively ready. Maybe another year, another 6 months. That way you don't waste too much time and energy and even money. So that's the purpose of all-SAT in terms of planning. Is my child ready for this stage of math, for example? Or should I wait a little longer and focus more on last year's tests or lessons? So again, we need to combine all these tools because the standard education system is usually working with mass tools, mass instruction, mass standardized testing. In homeschooling, we can be more customized. We can use more observation. We can have more interviews. We can use other tools rather than standardized tests. We can let them play teacher and teach others. They can present their portfolio, and from there, we can gauge learning. So learning, assessing learning or measuring learning is not limited to standardized tests. There are many other ways to do it. But again, in the context of mass education, they're limited. They can only do so much because they have to do testing by the hundreds and thousands. In homeschooling, since we are more in one-on-one, or 1:3, if you have 3 kids or 4 kids, we can spend more time utilizing other tools. So, Mami, I think that I just wanted to add that to help those, especially those who are asking about assessments. Peniel's job basically is to kind of maintain some quality control with the DepEd. And again, even the DepEd, the way they think, just like the school system, is again mass standardized testing. And they basically focus on the minimum standards. But we're not about just meeting the minimum standards. We want to go beyond. We want to find out what are the strengths and talents of our children, because those strengths and talents and these gifts may not be recognized by the education system. And we want to develop them alongside the formal education system. So their potential is fully met, and it's not limited to just meeting the minimum standards of the education system. So I hope that helped. Mami, I'm going to turn back the mic to you.
Okay, so we'll just try to accommodate more questions later on. I'll be moving more to how do you say it? The actual process of enrollment. No? But this is as Peniel is concerned. But it should be similar to other home providers. Okay. Now, like I said, Flying School Bus is an independent committee to represent, champion and the interests of the homeschool family. So we invite different program providers to come up with online programs, and it's open to everyone. So optional to be a member. You can still join activities even if you're not a Flying School Bus member, even if you're from Peniel or other homeschool providers. Okay. So we've been trying to, it's just that teacher out, of course, it's the opening of the first batch of the enrollments. No? So hopefully we can get another time with her so that we can answer talaga everything pertaining to Peniel. So that's the power of our co-op. We can invite her because we have the community already. So how is it to be of the Flying School Bus virtual co-op? Okay, so this is the perks lang. If you want to be part of the Flying School Bus for Homeschoolers co-op, the perks, all right? Free membership, meaning to say the 1,000 pesos fee will be waived. You will enjoy members' rates. Like I said, we're inviting a lot of program providers for music, arts, coding, and other activities that will benefit the homeschool community. So for now, it's all online classes because of this pandemic. We will have field trips hopefully soon. All right. And then Daddy Phillip said there will be a free AllSat. This is the ability test. It's which the kid will be taking at the end of the school year. It's also online. All right. It's 1,600, but if you enroll to Peniel through Flying School, the 1,600 pesos is waived. All right. And then, of course, if you're part of the Flying School Bus, we will be creating virtual co-op. So it's all Zoom or Google Classroom, where we can have regular fellowship with parents. The kids can also have fellowship with other homeschools. We will provide workshops. We will be inviting other parents. So this is for the Flying School Bus, but separately, Peniel will be webinars for the grading sheet, portfolio, and so on, okay? If you have decided to enroll your kids, okay, as far as Peniel is concerned, there are 4 things you need to do. Prepare all the requirements, submit the application, pay for the bus, and then there will be an interview and pay for I'll send you a link, your email, so that we can send you the list of requirements and the application form and provide you the step-by-step. Now, if you already enrolled with Peniel, sorry to say, but the perks are only for enrollees through Flying School Bus. But we're providing discounted rates for those who are enrolled Peniel already. All right. Now, why do you need to be part of a homeschool provider? And I've been really pushing for this, no, whether it's another provider, because your homeschool provider is the one who will do all the accreditations. I had this question earlier. Sila yung mag-register na ENZO sa DepEd, so that admin or legwork will be done by your homeschool provider. As far as Peniel is concerned, once you are enrolled with them, will provide the homeschool guidelines and handbook, DepEd curriculum, the syllabus. They will provide quarterly tests. Now, if you buy, they will also provide grading sheets, school ID, and so on. Now, this open curriculum, they will provide a list of recommended books that are available through them. All right? Kung ayaw nyo na maghirap, once you get the list of books from them, my suggestion talaga is buy from them directly. Para you don't have to like shop. But if you are creative enough and you have the time, you can also shop elsewhere. That's well and good. Okay lang din yun. There's Akda, there's Likha, there's Vibal. There's so many actually. You can also buy from the United States if you have friends there. But to simplify, by all means, you can directly from them. If you buy kasi the books from them, they will be sending you quarterly tests via email that you administer directly to your student. Now, if you're buying the books from them, the quarterly tests are relevant to you. If you're buying elsewhere another curriculum, the quarterly tests is not applicable to you. But by all means, kasi kung hindi aligned yung schedule nyo, it does not make sense. So you will have to follow your own curriculum. So I suggest nga, if your books, the thing you need to do is, you have to browse through the book, make sure the teacher's guide, to make sure that there's a quarterly or chapter test or cumulative test. Okay? So, false expectation homeschool provider. A homeschool provider does not provide teachers. Okay? You are the teacher. So at the end of the school year, you cannot say, oh, my child did not learn anything because I was with this homeschool provider and that. It's not good to say that because you are the teacher. So it is responsibilities ng homeschool provider. Okay? So requirements, this will be part of the email, but just to run through everything, application form, which we will be sending to you. Now, Flying School Bus we already created a Google form. So it's easy for you to do online. 2x2 pictures, so take a photo of your child with a white background. The report is very important, all right? By now, ask your current schools, it will be released. Okay? Because I think a lot of parents, ito yung challenge nila because sometimes I think the schools are responding to them. I can imagine already a lot are their schools, so you have to find out. So a clear copy of your child's birth certificate, and then if you're coming from school abroad, there's Form 137. Parents tutors profile. So the minimum requirement for a primary teacher should be a college graduate. All right. So pwedeng si mommy, pwedeng si daddy, yung transcript of first niya, diploma niya, or PRC, Penyal allowed that. So kung hindi college graduate, either of the parents, you will get a tutor to submit the requirements because it's a requirement by DepEd, meaning to say it's not fair also if a homeschool provider will allow a parent with until high school lang, kawawa naman the child. So this is a DepEd requirement that we have to set. Now, while you have an ongoing application, I said that once we send you the email, you can already submit the application form even if your requirements are not yet complete, and submit partial. All right, just so that your application is in already. While waiting for the requirements, we'll send you we will already loop in the Penyal admission so you can go for the diagnostic test. The diagnostic test is also, it will be emailed directly by Penyal plus a scheduled interview. The diagnostic is not an entrance exam, okay? It's just to more or less, it will guide you also as to where your child is. So kung talagang ito yung mga things you need to supplement your child, because your report card your current school will sign if you're eligible to move to the next level. So it's the report card that is important. Make sure that your child is ready for the next. The diagnostic test is not an entrance exam, okay? So this is my child's actual report card. Like I said, if you enroll in Penyal or any provider, I'm pretty sure, or ask them if they're providing workshop for the report card. But as far as Penyal is concerned, there's already a schedule for that for the first batch of enrollees. So this is part of the training. So ito yung sa son ko, so ako lang gumawa niyan. I accumulated the quizzes and so on. So there will be a training for that. So don't worry about it. All right. Now, for the tuition fee, I'm sure it's turn for you. The tuition fee, it's this one already. Kinder 2, it's 16,500. For elementary, it's 1,500. For grade 7 to 10, up to 10 lang si Penyel, 19,500. Now, there on the email that we will send you, once you send in your email, there's a terms also if it's quarterly or semi-annually. And then if you're more than one sibling or one child, there's a discount there. So additional discount for third to fifth child. So it's going to be part of the email that we will send you. All right. So portfolio, ito. This is important, like what Mommy Susan mentioned, right? So aside from the quizzes and quarterly exam, the parent, our responsibility at the end of the school year is to submit at the portfolio of your child. So the portfolio is a compilation of students' total output, grading sheet. Ito yung supporting your grade, your card. Selection of students' activities for the 3 assessments. The written works. So ito yung, pag nasa book nyo, ito yung mga quizzes, self-test, performance task, which I'm going to show you later, and quarterly exams, all right? So the written works are samples of the students' paper and pen activities, essay, tests, quizzes. So I suggest every time you set a schedule already when you plan to take a picture. You can use your phone, take a picture of your child's quizzes. So for me, I'm a bad example. So I took a picture of everything at the end of the school year. Okay lang, it's cool. So make a calendar for that. I'm not exactly the perfect example for that. So performance task, I'm gonna show you, ito yung mga projects nila. So katapat nyo lang dyan talaga is your cell phone. Keep taking photos of your child while they're doing it. You know, you just try to come up with on your Facebook, a secret, a closed group. You just keep dumping all your photos there. At the end of the school year, trust me, it's gonna be very helpful if you've consolidated all the pictures in folder. So that was just a while ago. I've been looking at the 6 years. We have a close group, no? And then I've dumped all the pictures there. And it's really nice. It's so nice to look at the memories that you have. Remember, it's not just about them, not just about submitting projects to Penyal, but it's the memories that you build with your children. It's more for me, more significant, right? So every student enrolled under our home education program is recommit as part of the validating process. So at the end of the school year, we're supposed to Penyal on USB, no? Isa-save mo lahat yan sa USB and submit to them via LBC or via courier. But this school year, itong last school year, because of the pandemic, they allowed us to submit everything via Google Drive. So it took 8 hours for me to upload because I had to upload videos. Remember, the performance task is not just like the project. You can take a picture of, you can take videos, you can take, you can ask your child to do vlogging or whatever. You can be creative. This is where learning process really is happening. So ako, because I have a kinesthetic child, I really invested so much in taking videos. It's not just for them, but it's also a place for memory. So I'm just gonna share also. I'm gonna share quickly a video of my son's actual portfolio, no, that we submitted. I just took some of it lang kasi talagang kami ng son ko talaga, I can say I really take time to do performance task kasi that's where my son really is digesting whatever he's learned. So my grade 4 portfolio, it's hanging. So what I did, no, I took a picture and then put it on PowerPoint presentation para it's easy to view. But by all means, you can just save them on a folder. But for me, I want to do this like, for social studies, we went field trip to our barangay hall, KKK Museum. So mga field trips, picture lang yan. When we went to Ilocos and Ilocos Norte, that we were learning geography. We went to Palawan and then taught him about, traveling is learning. Yeah, our field trip to Yang Supreme Court, the Senate, when we had the field trip to PHIVOX, Pag-asa, Geology Museum, you have to visit Natural Science Museum. It's free to enter. Our field trip to ABS-CBN. So, yun, yung mga field trips namin. And then, these are some of the things that we can do at home. For Bible, I ask him to, it's not just about doing, a portfolio or a checklist, but I bought him a daily devotion and I told him, write down what you learned today. So these are just some of the samples. No, you can be creative, depends on you, but teka, ano pa? Hold on. It's lagging my laptop. So ang bigat niya, no? So I enrolled him in digital arts. You can be creative. You can enroll in paid classes. You can enroll on YouTube, yung mga free classes. Ang dami na. You can be really very creative, no? So, sorry, my laptop is okay. So I enrolled him in science workshops for homeschoolers. Okay. At home if there are things that we can do at home, I can be creative. Like for example, for the digestive system, I asked him to come a science project. So free coding at home. There's so many free coding classes on the internet. So I believe kasi in IT. The IT is now in the future. So my old son has already built almost 10 different furniture kasi he's a tactile learner. So we invested in the carpentry class. So that's him. He loves it so much. Even if for one day wala kaming books, but he's doing carpentry, for me, that's fine because I'm one of those relaxed homeschooler. For man, every time you introduce a concept, it would be nice if some research na parang, where can my son apply learning statistics or data? So, not so long ago, I told him, since we were learning statistics, sabi ko sa kanya, can you log in the new deaths or new cases and new recovery of it? So, suddenly, it became, it became serious for him when he could actually see how many are dying, how have new cases. So, sometimes it's important for us to make them understand why they're learning what they're learning. So these are just examples, no? But you can be very creative. And if this, you can just send me an email at team@flyingschoolbus, have an idea on what kind of portfolio. These are just ideas. But hopefully when we have our virtual co-op, we can share each other's projects. That's the beauty of co-op, because no one can do this alone. All right? So we're now at this point in time, toward lang, I'll be entertaining more questions, no? So I'm gonna wrap up my second part. So yun yung portfolio, no? Hold on. So, wait. What we're trying to do right now also is parang consult different tutorial centers. Kasi nga, like I said, not all of you have the free of time, meaning to say either you're working full-time, even if you work from home, you're probably part of operations, and hindi nyo talaga, or if you have the resources to outsource your child's, how do you say it, school academic, by all means you can actually do that. So we will try to consolidate a list of tutorial service or centers who can do one-on-one with your child, no? So hopefully we're still forming this with a tutorial center. We're trying to come up with the Homeschool Academic Support online program. Ito yung parang spoon feeding na siya, meaning to say someone will already send you there will be an online lecture time. The syllabus will be sent to you, and the links to certain topics will already be sent to you. But still, even if it's a online program, there will also be how do you say it, responsibility when it comes to the parents. It's not like you pass on everything, just like when your child is in a traditional school, parang bahala na yung school. Sometimes you don't even know what's happening. With the homeschool academic online support program, we still need the parents, the partnership with the parents talaga. So we will announce this later on once we have a conc plan. All right. So the parents' role there is to organize pa rin your child activities, ensure they join all the lectures, you administer the quizzes, keep track of their progress, and make they do the performance task. All right. So if you are ready to homeschool, I'd like to again, if you want to receive everything, go to flyingschoolbus.ph. All right. You fill up the query form, fill up your email there so we can send you the list of requirements. Hopefully, we will have a Zoom conference with Teacher Al from Peniel, from the Homeschool Academic Support Head. And right now, quickly lang, no, kasi ako yung from the mom's point of view. I'd like to quickly give this floor lang to my son. He can talk more about what it's like to transition. So if you have teens with you, maybe shortly I'll give him a few minutes. He prepared some slides. So how it is from a homeschooler's point of view. So I'd like to introduce my son, Enzo. He's now, God's grace, I'm not sure if he's going to mention, by God's grace, no, yun nga, he was in homeschool from grade 9, 10, 11, 12. He took a gap year. He did apprenticeship to learn or to what he really wants to take for college. Hindi naman tayo nagmamadali. So he's now computer science, first freshman in Mapua. And by God's grace, yes, he received academic scholarship for 2 terms already. So that's the light at the end of the tunnel. So sige, I'd like to give the floor to Enzo, my son. Are you there?
Hello, is my mic working? Is
Yes.
it on? Sige.
Okay, yes.
I'll just share my screen lang para all right. Okay, here we go. All right, good afternoon everyone. Ako pala si Trey. I'm currently in college. I'm taking computer science and I want to share with you my homeschool journey. Is my screen working already? Do we have a go? Thumbs up na lang if you can see my screen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give a short background about my life, something about my journey. So let's get back all the way to the start. So let's talk about my hobbies. I like photography, videography. These are one of my biggest strengths as a student. I love creating, as well as videos that can just help or express my creativity. I'm also a musician. I like to work around with mixing, songwriting, anything related to music because it's really fun and it helps engage the creative part of my brain as well. And lastly, I like computer science because I believe computer science is such an important thing that that most students need to get into, especially in college, because it's a big part of the future that we're headed to. And besides all the courses out there, I really believe that this is important. So I will be showing a timeline here, which I created. So here's a short timeline lang about my the history of kind of my life. So 2001, I was born. And the very first school I went to was a traditional school based in BGC. It's a school behind Victory. It was a Chinese school, everyone knows each other. It's a very small school, relatively small school. And I have been there probably for more than half of my life. I grew up in that school. I grew up in the ins and outs of traditional school. So I more or less know exactly the differences because I have seen both worlds. So around 2014, my parents, especially my mom, she introduced me to homeschool because I will admit that during that time in MGC, my school, I was already struggling with my academics because I wasn't I didn't have the discipline. I didn't have the will to study. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to work on my own, personal projects, perhaps hobbies or whatnot. But the point is, I didn't thrive as well as I thought I would because it is a very competitive school as well. It's all grades. It's all about the academics. The numbers are everything. And for me, as a student, I pressured didn't because I didn't have that yung will to push. So 2014, I was homeschooled, grade 8 to grade 10. And then around 2016 to 2018, I enrolled in Wellspring Christian Family Schools. It's a curriculum based in America. That was for senior high school. And then around 2019, I enrolled in probably all the schools. I tried to apply for every college, not because I wanted to get into all of them. I just to test my limits. Because when you push your limits, you really want to know how well you can do. And we'll just for a test. And for me, it was fun. I really enjoyed through those tests for the sets for every school. And by the grace of God, I will pass all of them. But I still chose Mapua because I like computer science. And I will be getting to that later on in this presentation. So I wanted just 5 points, and that's my brother over there. He's so cute too. I wanted to make 5 points about why homeschool is very important. Now, starting from the top, this is, by the way, in no specific order. I just place it there because I find it the most important aspects of homeschooling. The first is family. Now, I was back in MGC. I would usually see my parents, my entire family, at least when I get to mga 6 na, so diba? So 6, then I would be awake till probably 10 or 11. So that's only 5 hours. I'd only see them 5 hours a day. I wouldn't really talk to them. If I were to talk to them, it wouldn't be heart to heart. It wouldn't be personal. It's like parang I'm just passing by lang, like, hello. There wasn't connection because, again, of my schedule. I have to sleep. I have to study. Especially in tutor, it's going to take a lot of time and you've almost zero time to pursue what you want. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is that you are right here in your home within the comforts of and that's a good thing because you get to know your family more in every aspect. When I say every aspect, talagang every aspect, good and bad, but the point is you're gonna bond with them and you're gonna know them more. That's the most part. The second one is pursuing passions. So for me, when I was in MGC, I honestly will say I had no talent. I had no skill because I was so caught up with studies. I didn't have time to figure out what I wanted as a student. I don't know if I wanted music. In fact, when I was in grade 1, I was enrolled in this piano course. It was a practical music class. I think they call it PMC. And when I tried piano for the first time, I really I couldn't play properly. During recital, they would give me the song and I couldn't play. And it was really embarrassing because I didn't have the passion to play piano. In fact, I think I told my parents at some point na parang I didn't want to go piano. It's not fun. So I ended up going to the regular class. When I was grade 5, I pursued guitar. It still didn't work because I didn't have the passion. I didn't know I wanted to go for music yet. So I will actually be getting more into that later. Pursuing passions, it's a good time to work on the hobbies because that will be used very much in the future. So I'll be talking about that later on. Another one is strategized learning. So when you are in school, the biggest downside is nakaset na yung structure. You have a curriculum and that's it. But what schools don't teach you is that you can learn everything and anything by yourself because we are reaching an age where all resources are placed online already. Sailor.org, Khan Academy, Udemy, Skillshare, Harvard EDX, all of them personally until today. Very helpful. And when you need to learn, when you figure out the code to breaking how to learn, you can learn anything. It's almost everything becomes possible to learn because you know how to learn already. And then for the fourth point is strengthening character and value. Now, from college, I have worked with a lot of people already. I have been in group researches, thesis, etc. And no matter how smart you are, you can have the highest grades. But if you're one who's going to get it through a dirty means of perhaps cheating, all that stuff, dishonesty, it's not going to get you anywhere. So what homeschooling does is that it reorients student around character and value because it's one thing to be really good at something. I can do this. I can create a program. Perhaps I can write a song. But if I'm a this person, if no one likes me, it won't get you anywhere because of who you are. This is where the student will really work on their inner selves, because it's important as well. It's a big factor. And for me personally, I will choose EQ over IQ anytime, because the aspect. So I'll be getting more into that later. And lastly is growing in the word. So this is a very big aspect. Actually, most of these points are revolve around it. As a Christian, as a believer in Jesus, I believe pursuing the word of God is kind of like gravity. No matter where you are, wherever you are, it's going to always gravitate towards the word of God, because the word of God has a lot of values, aspects that we can learn as well. And there's so much in the word that can change your life. And that's how it need to change my mindset. If it weren't for learning the word of God, I wouldn't be learning as much as I want to. I'd be lazy. I would just sit down and do nothing. And well, good, isn't it? So yeah, this is just a fast overview of what I'll be getting into. So I'll be showing you a bit of my journey. All right. So let's start from the very year I transitioned to homeschool. When I found homeschool, I had no idea what I was getting into. All I knew is that I'm leaving MGC. It's going to be the last day. I had no idea. I had no idea who would be there, what I'd do. But the point is, I was headed somewhere. So what happened on my first year was that I started to slack off the talagang I slept very late and I woke up very late. It was one of the downsides to my first year, because again, I was still transitioning. But I fell asleep probably at the wrong times. I'd wake up at the wrong times. I would medyo slack my studies because I didn't see the value yet. And there's nothing wrong with slacking in the first year. Kasi syempre you have to reorient yourself with the new structure of homeschooling. So I'm going to talk about some stuff here. So remember how I said when in grade 5, I didn't really want to pursue music. Like it wasn't for me. It wasn't my... Well, when I started homeschooling, the very first event that I attended was called the Ultimate Race. It's where homeschoolers come together to participate in this running. Anyways, I saw a drum set there and I told myself, I kind of want to pursue drums. I think I like, I want to pursue something that interests me. And when I saw the drum set, I said, I want to pursue drums. So first year, I said, Mom, I want to do drums. I was able to pursue drums. It was one of the very instruments I really enjoyed because out of all, something just sparked in me to like pursue this instrument. So that's one. Another was photography. So going back to what I said a while ago, I had no talent or skill for that matter. I had no passion. Actually, puro gaming lang ako before, Minecraft or you name it. And there's nothing wrong with gaming, but it became to the point where it was so I could have focused on things that I could use in the future. So little did I know that I think it was a subject called arts or something like that, and it involved taking pictures of shoes. My mom had this old camera which is in the box. It was a really old camera. It was a Canon camera, and when I picked it up, I had this gravity towards photography. I kind of want to try it out. So I took some photos. I tried it, and it was really fun. I enjoyed it, and little did I know that it would get me to big places. So persistence is all part of homeschool. Don't stop yourself from pursuing your passion. If you feel like you want to go towards art, towards sports, towards music, go for it, because little do you know it will grow into something great. So not sports. For maybe my entire life, I've been into football. It's like my blood sport, quote unquote blood sport. I played it since I was a child. And because of homeschool, I had more time to pursue football, because usually if you're in a traditional school, you're more like you're medyo confined to the structure of academics. Tapos afterwards, you have to go to training, and then you get home late, you sleep late, you wake up very early, and then it drains you talaga. With homeschool, I'm able to allot a single day for training. I can learn so much in a day because the coach, and I am not confined to any structure or any time schedule for that matter. Another one is cooking. So back in my old school, I would actually pursue. Little did I know, my passion for cooking would actually become bigger, because when I became homeschooled, I wanted to cook more because it was right. My kitchen was right there, and I had all the ingredients. So why not make fun? And again, all of these grew into something really big. So I'm telling everyone here, whether you're a student or a parent, it is a great thing to pursue a passion because it will become useful in the future. Let's talk about one of my biggest, achievement, more like something that really pushed me forward. So I'll tell you some three things I learned from this. So this is an entrepreneurship program. It was actually competition. So you have to like come up with your own product, and then you have to promote it in a way. What I did was I cooked slash this thing called spamare. Spamare is basically maki with spam and mayonnaise. And I had to find a way to market it, to buy ingredients. So I really learned a lot about accounting. I had to account for the money that I used when it comes to making the posters, the packaging, etc. And not only that, I learned how to use Shop. And as you can see in the right over here, the lower, you can see the poster. That was all done on Photoshop. I learned a lot of tech as well as accounting. And not only that, it really encouraged me to get more into marketing, because marketing is a very big skill, not only that's going to be used in college, but in the real world. And because of this, I was able to learn so much, from accounting to basically everything. Yeah. So it's a 3-in-1 package. So I even won best, it's over here, best, I think, booth display, because I was able to bring out my creativity as well for the entrepreneurship. So that's one of the big things that I learned, is when it comes to accounting, there's a lot to be. And note, I didn't have to go to YouTube to search on how to do accounting. All self-taught. I used relative learning to understand why I was doing it, to understand what sense and what doesn't make sense. And it really helped as well. So let's talk about another one. This is one of my bigger achievements. So I actually got into videography when I was back in my old school. I would have these video projects, and I want to edit them usually. But little did I know that that small passion for editing would become something bigger. Because back in my old school, like I said, I was into Minecraft. If you like Minecraft, that's good, because I love Minecraft. I really love Minecraft. The YouTube channel, I would edit videos all about Minecraft. And that introduced me to video editing. At around 2011, this is 9 years ago, I was already video editing. I was around my 11. I would have the iMovie, then I would stitch the clips together, montage, and then suddenly I have a video. So around 2015, if I'm not mistaken, my mom enrolled me in this film competition. And is that I had no film camera. I only had the camera that could take pictures. So in my mind, how am I going to participate without a film camera? And that made some limits for me. But, creativity doesn't have limits. So what happened was that the competition wants us to create a dream school. That was the category, by the way, because there were 4. There was fashion, blog, film, and I think the other one is music. I'm not so sure, but for the film category, we had to create a storyboard, and we had to create a film about a dream school. So again, it's a very vague sentence, dream school. I have no idea what that. I let my creativity take over. So I have a sample here of my board. It's basically comparing two people's lives. One goes to a dream school, one goes to a traditional school. So ano siya, subtle way of comparing homeschool, dream school, to traditional school. And I had very low expectations about winning this. I joined just for the fun, for the experience. And lo and behold, I was able to do competition by God's grace. I was really surprised because I know that my film wasn't the best. I know that it wasn't, everything I dreamed of, but I still won. And I won a trip to Singapore with 4 winners. And it was one of the great experiences, because little did I know that that film, that passion for film would soar into something. So I will get there a bit later. All right, let's talk about another aspect of homeschooling, photography. So I mentioned a while ago that after finding this camera in the box, and syempre naman, there's an art subject for homeschool. You cannot neglect it. It's important. Little did I know that from academics, being forced or being required to get into photography, that kind of evolve into something greater. So here are my very initial pictures. This is my first time trying out long exposure, etc. These are just the small times where I wanted to enjoy photography. And I'll tell you something. If you are going to pursue a passion, pursue it. Don't hesitate, because it will grow inevitably. And just for reference, this is my photography around 2015 or 14, around the time. And then little did I know my photography would become something different. Like I would finally find myself. Because if you look at photographers, they all have their own style, their own fingerprints on their photographs. When you see an image, you just know it's someone's because of the way it's composed, the color, and all that. So here's my style. I found my style, and this took a long time. Took me around 4 years to what did I like? What did I like? Landscape? Did I like urban portraits? I found that I liked fine arts because it's most appealing to me. It's something that I innately like already. And when I tell you that I didn't have to go through any course to learn this, I learned this all through observation. Like these are actually done in Photoshop, these out of composites. So I just stacked some images, I layered them, I color grade them. Then these are all based off what I think I like. It's not because I learned it from somewhere. I learned it from a teacher. I learned it from everyone, anyone. I see inspiration, combine it, and I have an idea and I create it. So that's one of the passions that really pushed me forward, this photography. So it changed me in ways. And this is, remember, compared to having no skill before. I couldn't do this before. I had no interest in photography, but then I realized how fun it was. It makes me want to get better. Okay, so that's just some of my hobbies, something about me, what I like to do, what I have fun doing with. And to move now more into the socialization side, socialization, sorry, or slash community. So, all right, student council. When I first joined homeschool, I had no friends. I had literally no connection. Actually, the only connection I had was my old friends from my old school. But then I didn't really talk to them because they were busy as well. And I was alone. Till I found out that there were more. There were so many homeschoolers involved in the community. And I think around 2016, when my photography slash music started to grow, it started to really motivate, made me more humble in a way. And around 2016, I got a message, I think, from one of the titas. She asked me if I could be part of this student council thing. First, I had no idea why I would be part. Like in my mind, why me? Like I'm not that good, you know. But little did I know that it would change everything. It would change my perspective in life. So council, what we do is we create events for homeschoolers to come together. So I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with yung Kamkatanet. We actually have a High Night page. It's called Higher Night. It's a community full of high school homeschoolers, and we all share ideas, we share events, everything is there. If you want to meet people your age in high school, this is the place to go. It's called High Unite. Just remember that. And because of this, the student council was able to create events. Yes, we made events from scratch. I will name some in the future. So here's the very first, just called the Documentation Club. So people who like photography, who like videography, who like illustration, we have a club. There's also a club for music, a club for chess, a club for dance, a club for, there's a lot. There's even a math club. And all of these were created by homeschoolers who have similar passions. And this is all spearheaded by the student council. So I was given the honor and privilege to spearhead this club. And remember, coming from a perspective where I wasn't good at photography. So in literally around 2 years, I was able to get better and get promoted to this level. It's really by God's grace, because I was still a beginner probably when I first joined, when I became the president of this club. I was still learning. In fact, until now, I am still learning. There's no end to learning. So for homeschoolers who like to create, was created because there are so many homeschoolers talaga who don't have connections to each other. So what the student council did was we wanted to group these homeschoolers into a nice community, this one united community. Kaya it's called the High Unite. So it's another one. Is Elevate. Let's talk about Elevate. So going back to pursuing music, I wanted to get better in drums because drums was one of my first serious instruments. When I first attended Elevate, it's a youth service, by the way, from CCF. And I was first to this because I think a friend invited me to join. And one of the band you were playing praise and worship, I'm like, I kind of want to pursue drums because it looks like a really instrument. And so I practice. I got better. I had to really practice every day talaga because we cannot get better by just sitting down and imagine. You have to do it. So ginawa ko yung schedule ko for when I should practice and when I should rest. And 2016, I was able to audition for Elevate, and I got in by God's grace. I was able to become part of the band, and I have some of the ministry teams. So from a dream of becoming a drummer, became real because I was able to use my talents. I was able to actually use my skill in the real world, not just self. So when I say pursue your passion, pursue it talaga with relentless pursuing, because it's going to get you somewhere. Whether that be in the real world, it can be used there. So never underestimate the passion. So going back to the student council, here's some of the events that we've already created. So the first one over here, the top left, it's a 3-day overnight stay at MIT. And basically what happens is that we're going to have speakers from the community talking about leadership. And it's really a team building camp overnight. No parents, just the kids with some titos and titas. And this is really the best time. This is the best time to get to know people who have the same interests as. In fact, actually, after this camp, people were sad because they wanted more of this get together. It was really probably one of the best times for me. At least. I enjoyed so much because of how many friends I made, how many things I learned. Everyone. To your right over here, the top right is called the Pizza Party Pare. It's a costume party for homeschoolers. So it sounds kind of strange to hear it first, but yes, homeschoolers have costume party where everyone can just get together and socialize. And this is actually the biggest event. The first one is the camp. That was like the biggest one, organized by the student council. For no titos and titas involved. This is purely student council. Those logos you see in Catenate, that was all handmade. I was actually there spraying the letter T. I was start to finish. I oversaw everything. It was a great experience talaga to learn. And then the bottom left is a sports fest. So if you like sports, if you like basketball, football, or any other sport, this is one of the best events for homeschoolers. So here, this is in Marikina Sports Center. We rented the entire place for one day. And it composes of different activities. We have tug of war, we have football, we have volleyball. Actually, everything is ready here. It's a single day dedicated to sports and socialization. And lastly, to our bottom right over here is camp. This is around 3 years ago. And if you compare the top lower right photo compared to the upper left, you can see that homeschooler growing exponentially. Like, just look at how many people joined homeschooling. And I promise you, it's going to get more and more every year, because homeschool is such a powerful tool, not only for academics, for everything, for character-wise, socialization-wise, everything. It hits all aspects. So I'm going to talk about another thing, which is another big stepping stone in my life, which is hosting. I was never the type to actually do this, to talk to a camera, to an audience. I had fear of speaking in front of audiences. I couldn't do it. I'd either stutter or freeze because I was shy. I didn't have the boldness to do so. So around 2016, I think there was this audition for Homeschool TV. What they do is they interview families and they post it on YouTube. And they were looking for a host, not just any host, but someone who is young. And I auditioned. I auditioned because my mom wanted to, not because I wanted to. Because I didn't have the understanding of what everything was about. For me, it's just duty. Like, okay, I'm going to do it because my mom said. So this is around June 2016. I joined. And a few weeks later, I replied that I was accepted. And in my mind, how did I get in? I wasn't even good at speaking. I wasn't even good at hosting in general. I was like the last person in my mind that you would want to host your event. But it led somewhere. So right over here, the bottom right was I think it's the very first homeschool conference of big conference, and I was given the privilege to host. In my mind, how did I get in here? I am not even good at hosting. I'm not even good in speaking in general, but then I was still given the privilege to host. And when I was able to host, I learned so much about tech. I learned about scripts, everything, how to host properly, how to guide the audience, to make them respond. It was a very big thing for me because I had no idea how to get into speech or anything like that. Because even in my old school, I wasn't good yet. I was still where I was. But it was this experience, getting out of my comfort zone, that taught me how to get better in speech. That's why I'm able to even speak in front. So one of my biggest achievements as well is that I was able to become a host for the Homeschool Life series. It's a series on YouTube where homeschool families get to share their experience, their lives as parents and students. So you can check on YouTube. So I think my mom mentioned a while ago field trips. This is a very underrated experience of probably all education. When you are in the traditional school, you're most likely to go out at least once in a year to a year. For me, I've been to a lot already, many places homeschooling. I had the time and the will to go to these field trips because of how flexible my schedule was. Whereas if you are in a traditional school, you are more confined to the timing, and it's very hard to become flexible because apparently you have to do things at a certain time, you have to graduate at this time, you have to do this at this time. Whereas in homeschool, it's more of reality. Whereas in school, it's the theory, but in homeschool, it's about do it, practical. No more sitting down and looking at what it looks like to be in the, for example, the Supreme Court. You're actually gonna go there instead of reading article about the wallpaper, how it looks, how it smells. Instead of reading about it, you go there and experience it yourself. And that's the biggest key point of homeschooling is how flexible you can be and how practical. You can go to places you've never been to because of the time and money saved. So it's really a great way to get out into the world, because indeed the world is your home. If you're sick of studying at home, sometimes you can always go to a cafe nearby, or perhaps kahit yung grocery, you can just sit there in the food court and eat and study at the same time. There's no limitations to learning. And just another one I want to share is Go Technicolor Play. So this is my very first play. As in my entire life, I have never had a play until this time. So it was around 2000 as well. I did to this play that homeschoolers were gonna have. And again, I have no background in acting. I have no background in singing, background in whatever it is. I am not good at theater. I joined this. When I stepped out of my comfort zone, I was able to find that I kind of enjoy this. I dancing, I enjoyed reading the scripts, because when you get out of the comfort zone, it teaches you how to adapt quickly. And I learned so much. I learned footwork, I learned cooperation, teamwork. There's so many skills I learned from this. And not only that, I learned how to be patient as well, because this took around probably half a year to master, to get everything right, to get down to the words. It all had and a lot of perseverance. That's what really pushed my homeschooling life to make it more interesting. Instead of sitting down and doing nothing, there's a lot that can be done in homeschool. Just one more. I'm about to end here. Videography. So little did I know that videography would make my skills blossom into something. I've actually created a YouTube channel, which is for vlogs, for short films. Actually, I have a website as well. And going back to that film competition, right now, because of my passion for film, I am freelancing. I was able to get into freelancing where people would pay me to do same-day edits, birthday parties, because of that small passion, because I pursued that small, urge to get into film. I was able to make money out of it and reinvest into my passion. So I'm saying is if you have a passion for music, you want to be a musician, pursue it, because later on you're going to use it and it's going to be very important. It's a very important skill that, not a skill, it's something that you cannot deny, you cannot block, because it's already, the creative aspect of our minds is just there. We need to express it, whether art, music, or sports. So never undermine or disregard your passion. It is important because you are going to use it. I will speak from a college perspective. It's because of videography that I got promoted. When I first joined the photography org in Mapua, all I had to do was my work, and I was already promoted to chief videographer. I did nothing yet. I didn't even show them I just showed my portfolio, and they were able to say, "Wow, he has a skill already." Because I practiced, veered, and I went towards the passion that I wanted. And I'm just going to give some very important points that I have learned. I'm going to really compress this into key statements. So, character. My entire journey has come to the conclusion that nothing is more important than character, because in college there will be people who will be very hard to deal with, especially when you're doing group works. It's important to always maintain good composure. For example, someone doesn't reply to you because you have a group project. when you learn patience, humility, it's going to help you gain better relationships, especially in college and the world. It's very applicable. You can use this anywhere. I am personally, I don't believe in numbers, I believe in academics, because academics can always come later, but you can never undo the character that you have now. It's hard to undo, actually. Kaya when you're at a young age, develop good character, develop a sense of orientation around the right and what's not. Because for me personally, I would rather have wisdom than knowledge, knowing how to do something rather than having data. It's like data insight. Data is just unprocessed information, whereas using that data to create action points. So I'd rather have more action points than having a sense of everything but not using it. And that's why character is very important. It helps you develop better relationships with people and helps you learn. Hobbies. So like I've mentioned, because of homeschool, I had more time to pursue three aspects. I could pursue sports more, I could pursue music, I could pursue arts, all because of the time and flexibility I had in homeschool. It's very important because when you are in traditional school, it's most likely that your parents will enroll you in the course. For example, there's a guitar course or there's a piano. They would enroll you to it, and the consequence of if you don't want to join is that you can't play outside, get your new phone. So there's always this cause and effects. If you want to do something, learn this first. And there's always this trade-off. But when you're homeschooled, there is no one pushing you except yourself. And for me, I will tell you from experience, the first 2 years was very hard because nothing was pushing me. It was pushing me to learn. I sat in my bed, watching YouTube, waste of playing video games. But then in the latter years, I realized if no one's going to push me, I'm not gonna get smart. I'm not gonna get better at what I want. The very being scared of not learning made me want to learn. So last year, I started to get into programming, started to get into music, pushed me because I saw a vision. I had the vision already for where I wanted to go. So that really helped me for music, for arts, and even for music. I never thought I would be able to use it to play the guitar. I never had an interest to play guitar, but now I love guitar. It's such an amazing instrument. But then what changed was my perspective, because the environment I was placed in, I wasn't pressured anymore to learn it. I wanted to learn it because it was in me already. So another one is learning strategies. And this is the most important aspect of homeschooling. Not wise to jump into homeschooling or to study in general if you don't know why you're going to do it, where you're going to be headed. It's like going on a trip without having a map. Create the map first or find the map and then go on the trip. For me, especially as a student, I still use learning strategies all the time. I create different aspects. For example, I want to work on computer science. So computer science requires a lot of math, there's calculus. And when you get into this, it's very easy to just jump in and dive in and just do it without having a plan. It's going to be very hard. So that's why it's good to know what you're diving into first. Know the scope of what you're going to learn, because if you have vision and application, you're going to be able to use it in a much better way. And for academics, related to learning strategies, that I encourage all the parents as well as the students is do not underestimate math. Math is very important. I really hated math. I'm the person that really hates math before. But when I got computer science, for Java, Python, C++, database, I saw the math in use. I saw calculus. I saw algebra in use. This is where math is super important. Math is not only something that you just learn and then you don't use it afterwards. What math does is that it develops your logical skills. It develops simple logic. I have been on the search of why math is important. It's there. It's for logic, because math is a very strategical subject. Especially in database, if you use database, you have to be very strict with the numbers. Otherwise, you'll place it in the wrong area. It's going to get messed up. Even for programming, I do Java and C++. You mess up one number, your output will be different. You'll get an error and it's going to mess everything. Kaya it's good to learn math at a very young age. It's good to invest in it. You won't see it now and later, especially if you're going to do perhaps maybe medicine, or you want to get more physics, all that stuff. It's going to be used. But then again, this will depend on what course. For me, mine is a heavy demand in math, and I learned to appreciate calculus more because it is very important for, especially if you're going to create games, you need to know the physics. That's why there's the engines, statistics, data science, they're all used. Math is very important. So do not disregard academics. What you can disregard is the less important and place more time to what really matters. So that's my advice for everyone that's getting into more of the academical side. So productivity. Okay, this is my favorite part, is how to be productive at home, even if you're homeschooled. There are so much things you do because of the internet. You can learn so much online. Because of this ECQ, I was able to learn so many new things with the access to free courses online. I have taken advantage. I have studied day in, day out because of how much education is free. And not only that, I have time to cook. I have time to do my own hobbies at the same time because of homeschooling. Even if I'm in college, I have time. I create time. I structurize my time. I have a schedule that can be flexible. I can erase sometimes. I can add a new schedule there. I have that ability of productivity, of my structurized. I make it my personal customized structure schedule sort of thing. So it's important to have a schedule as well because you want to always be oriented somewhere. And next is family. So relating to my first point, family will always come first. And this is where you get to bond. Bonding is important because even if you're really smart, even if you're a billionaire, millionaire, it's going to matter of how close you were to your family, because family should always be first. It should be at the heart of it all. Be a really wealthy person as well as us. But if I forget my family, it's going to be something that's going to hurt because there's like a gap. There's a gap there that doesn't, fill everything. And that's why I believe family should always come first. So if you have class, if you have an obligation, make sure that the family is always a priority, because everything after, you don't have to sacrifice your family for math. You can always learn math. What matters is the now. The now matters with your family because life is very short and you want to make sure you spend as much time that you have with your family. So it's important as well. And second to the last is socialization. So I really want to create this point that homeschoolers are the best, hands down the best in creating friendship, relationships, etc. When in college, first enrolled in Mapua, I was very eager to make friends. In fact, the very first day I enrolled, when there was an orientation about these different organizations for music, I was able to join already the photography org because of my extrovertness. I was able to apply my skills that I learned from the past into real. I can get easily more connections because of what I learned in socialization, and it really helped because of the people I've. And it's kind of also because of being stuck at home so much that you just want to make friends. So if you're really stuck at home, when you meet new people, you're gonna be extrovert. It's just gonna come out, like whether you're shy or not. When you find the same interest as you, even if you're really shy. I was shy at first. I was very shy, but when I realized people are also shy, and if you're comfortable with them, they become comfortable with you. You make new friendships and you make new connections, and it becomes better because you now have new friends. So that's one aspect. And lastly is college. If you're wondering where you should go for college, I'm going to actually recommend something very important. We are reaching this age where everything is headed towards technology. Because of this ECQ, talagang lahat yung mga na businesses are going virtual. Lazada's one, virtual shop, Amazon, one of the biggest companies, instead of going to a physical mall, you have these online shops. Very easy kasi COD, debit card, you don't have to go there physically and then purchase it. What I recommend to everyone, to all the students here, is programming, computer programming. Yes, I'm here to plug my course, great course, because if you understand the way that the online world is, you will be able to manipulate and create your own maybe because of understanding the online world. We're reaching an age where technology is advancing towards online, cloud-based. We're talking about cloud-based systems, cloud databases. It's all about that. I've already seen based on my school. I've seen people, I've talked to people, they say everything is going to be based online. It's going to be based on servers. So if you know how to speak the language of a programmer, Java, Python, learn it while you can now. It's going to be very important. Music, arts, all come. You don't have to always go to a college to learn arts. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but for me personally, I can learn arts by myself. I can learn music theory on my own. In fact, if you ask questions, I have some friends who gig with mga OPM they don't go to school. They learn from other musicians. So they don't have to go to school. You don't have to go to school to learn it. You can always learn by yourself. Everything is online already. But the skills that are required talaga sa school is architecture, medicine, computer science. Those are the types of courses that require college. But again, I don't believe in as a whole. It's just that I believe in the pressure, because like they say, diamonds are made under pressure. When you're under pressure, you make something, you create something. That's one advantage of college. But again, all learning can be done at home. I'm learning more here from my prof. Actually, last Thursday, we released a 3-hour video on database. I went to YouTube, I database structure, and I found a 10-minute video. I understood it more than a 3-hour video, and I'm paying a lot for something I can learn for free. So that's how important online education is, especially homeschool. You can still use homeschooling in college, and that's why probably all my friends are adapting to the homeschool. But for me, I heard because I've been doing it ever since. So what I'm saying is, homeschool is very powerful in terms of education, in terms of relationship building, character building, and of course, family building. So these are my important points that I want to put out there, because I can spend an hour at least in each of every single aspect. There's so much to talk about in every aspect, but this is just the glance, just the surface of what homeschooling can do for you. So that is it actually for this session. I'm actually going to, my mom said to add a Q&A session. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I'm very eager to answer because I want to help people as well. I've been through the burden of finding the right answers, finding how to deal with all these, these obstacles. What should I learn next? What do I've more or less found out. I've cracked the code in my experience. So I want to share with you guys, with everyone here, the students, the parents, everyone. I want to share what I've learned throughout the years. So that is my speech on my homeschool life. Thank you very much. All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Enzo. So basically, that's my point of view is different from my son because he's the one who had to transition. So he changed his life from traditional to from traditional to homeschool life. So I guess actually it's the first time I invited him. But I know he can talk forever. He has so many stories to tell. In fact, I told him na 15 minutes lang. But as you can see, he has really many stories. So I guess if I'll try to come up with a separate talk na lang then for him. If you have, let's say, especially it's harder for teenagers to turn talaga because they have sets already from their traditional school and then you're uprooting them. So I have more questions for Enzo. Can you please post it on the chat group? I tried to copy paste everything I tried to copy and paste na lang to another file. If ever we are not able to answer everything and by 4:30, we might be boring you already. But I know you have many questions. But I'll try to post everything on the Homeschooling for First Timers group page. So post it. But I'll try to answer one by one, as many as I can. I said, post it now. So before we end by in 7 minutes, I can still answer. But last reminder, kindly go to flyingschoolbus.ph. That's our website. There's a query form there where you can send your email, send you the actual the actual enrollment as far as Peñal is concerned. But the homeschooler for first timers will be posting a lot of tips there. Siguro I'll start with, I'll try my best to answer all muna ha. So I am from traditional school and due to this pandemic, we already decided to enroll my daughter to Peñal. Regarding books, do you purchase from Peñal or buy from other sources? Okay, so once you're enrolled, we will give you a list of books that you can purchase from them. Since it's open curriculum, also have the option to purchase from other sources. So there's the PH Marketplace. You can go to Vibaldo. So there are many. You can outsource from other suppliers. So from Jennifer, dun po ba sa quarterly test na binigay ni Peñal may kasamang answer sheet? Yes, there's an answer sheet kasama dun sa quarterly test. But remember, the quarters is only applicable if the books that if the books that you're buying are from them, because they will say it has to match. But if the books buying is not from them, and then you use the quarterly test on the books that you're buying outside. Is the diagnostic test in interview form or handwritten? Diagnostic, it's handwritten, and then there's a separate interview. The request moral is not yet released. Will it be a hindrance in the enrollment? The good moral is it's not applicable for kinder, but it's definitely part of the enrollment procedure. So a lot of you are experiencing delays from your current provider, pero medyo non-negotiable siya. It should be part. But my advice is you can already submit the application form. At least it's already pending. And so at least yung na lang yung hintay natin. So that in case if there's really any delay, because the deadline to submit the documents to Peñel is August 3rd. So Mami Michi, the flying school bus will accept also up until, well, since Peñel's deadline is August 30, please don't cram naman. So I suggest submit it August 29. The latest yan para wala tayong problem. But like I said, if your requirements are not yet complete, you can still submit application form. So it's already at least tagged on the Peñel database, no? So Mami Michi, it's not June 15. That's supposed to be for the co-op, but we're extending it to August. Appreciate if you can share online. Yes, we will share this link to Flying School Bus page. Enzo, how many hours do you study in a day?
That's actually one of my favorite questions. Especially my friend, I'm very productive. So what I've done is I have divided my schedule into 5 days. Because again, this is from a college perspective. I ask every day, but I still can study by myself. So what I do is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I focus on programming, math. And I probably from around I wake up mga 8 or 9, depending on the day. 8 to 9, I wake up until probably 11 or 12, I do my daily routines. I read the Bible, I stretch, I have to do things that will get me ready. And 12 all the way until 6 or 7, I straight. I take breaks in between. I take short breaks lang, but it's because I want to study. I spend a lot of time, probably 8 hours a day at least. And for me, since I'm taking programming, I program every single day. I have to program every day because I want to learn something every single day. It's a very important. Just keep learning and learning. So I would say for me personally, since I have a lot of, well, not really a lot, I have little time, but I make it most by using 8 hours a day straight, but with mga 4 or 5 breaks, depending on the load.
Okay, Enzo, how did your mom introduce homeschooling to you? I have 5 kids already in high school. Mommy Tin, can you unmute your mic? 5 kids, wow. How convince them to try homeschooling? Where's Mommy Tin? Are you there? Siguro to add lang to later to start with that question. The reason hi Mommy Tin. So you have 5 children. Wow. Sige Enzo, how will you inspire the 5 children? Kasi medyo grade 8 and 12.
So I think one of the initially, when you are looking at school, you don't really see the other side. What you're saying is you're at home, no friends. That's always the first thing people see. Even in college, when people ask me the same question, how are you how's homeschool? Especially remember, I'm going to Mapua. It's melting pot of different people from different schools. And when the prof says, what school are you from? I say, sir, I'm from homeschool. And then people just look at me like, okay, like where's this guy from? And what makes homeschool is so great is that you can focus on what you more. Because academics, again, it's not the most important thing. It's crucial, syempre, education is always important, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have it. Because all learning is relative. You're still going to learn inevitably because that's how the brain works. We're bound to pick up things that we've never learned. Even if you've never gotten into math, if I put you in a math class every day without you trying to learn from it, you're going to still learn because it's the brain. It's how the brain works. So my encouragement is that homeschool, you can focus on hobbies more, things that you want to get to. because it's never about the academics. It's never about that. It's developing that moral, that skill that's going to really help you get in the future. It's not about how many answers I can get in a second, how much math I can do. It's about what you can do as a student, as a child, and as a friend, diba? It's good to invest in long-term skills. And I'll tell you one very important one is public speaking. Public speaking is very underrated. In fact, in schools, I don't think most schools put more effort. They don't put as much as effort into public speaking. But I had to learn it by myself through experience. I didn't go to a class. I just did it. I just did it because I learned relative to what I was when I was on top of that stage speaking to around 100 people. I was very nervous. But then what I would do is I would watch mga TED Talks. And by the way, I would recommend watching TED Talks because you pick up small nuances, the way they talk, the way they stand, the way they phrase their words, the way they, mga hand gestures. It really amplifies the message. For me, I have picked up a lot from many speakers. Kaya I was able to use it when I host, when I do this kind of talks. So again, just to reiterate, it's going to help one develop their passions, because when you're old, when you've grown up already, you're going to wish you. For me, I wish I really spent time to learn guitar in my old school. But now lang, I'm medyo late ako, boomer ako. But I'm glad that I was able to pursue it even at a later age. So it will help you enhance the skills that are needed, not recommended, needed in college and in the real world. So that's my
All right, thank you, Enzo. So I'll be reading na lang, medyo stretched a bit. So I suggest post all your questions. I will, once you leave, I will try to answer everything and post it on the homeschooling first timers, no? But I will try to answer 4 more questions from Mommy Jenny. Barbie, if a child is enrolled in a homeschool American curriculum and decided to go back to traditional, because most of you will be homeschooling this year, and if you're okay already next year, you might go back or not, depends. But traditional school, Philippines curriculum, will the child be accepted? What is the process? Yes, because there was a time you can be with the local homeschool provider now. It's American curriculum, but you just have to make sure that, how do you say it, yung American curriculum kasi tsaka Philippine curriculum, minsan hindi siya aligned. Times mas advanced yung sa Philippines, mas advanced yung sa America's curriculum. So yes, you can use, because there are a lot of better homeschool curriculum from the US. So it's meaning to say, when I say better homeschool curriculum, it was created for homeschoolers talaga, kasi meron siyang step by step, mas parang how do you say it, mas organized siya the way it teaches, because our local books, our local publishers, no, most of are published with the traditional school in mind. Parang iniisip nila it's a teacher who knows how to teach English who will teach this book. So sometimes kailangan mo pang i-research, how do you teach now? So it means you can be enrolled with, let's say for example, Peniel or whatever provider. If it's open curriculum, you can buy foreign curriculum, no? Now ang tanong mo, if it will be promoted to the next, it depends pa rin kasi who will put the grades. Now once you submit your grades to your homeschool provider, okay, that grade, the accreditation will be processed by your homeschool provider. So that grade now will be used for you to reapply or to go back to your traditional school. Your question kasi parang mada-downgrade ba sila or not? So I guess what homework should be is, what are the things that they will be learning in the next level that my son did not learn? Para lang magre-realign ka lang. So there should not be any problem. Mommy Jenny, was I able to answer your question? Mommy Jenny and Gada. You can unmute your mic. Mommy Jenny, was I able to answer your question? Where's Mommy Jenny? Nawala siya. Mommy Jenny, jump in na if you have additional question. Because that's very valid. Because like I said, if you are going to be or might go back to traditional school after this school year, it's important for you, ito na lang homework nyo, try to call your current school, right? And ask them, if I pull out my child, right? And then you go to, let's say, a home provider, what are the requirements for you to go back? Most likely, it's the same, because it's going to be the same. You need to say they will need your report card and so on. Okay? So I hope Jenny, are you there? Okay. Sige. See, Kate Clariza, jump in if you have question, but I'll read your question. You've mentioned that you're using the independent method, but at the same time affiliated with Penn. Yes, we are. My grade 4 is currently enrolled. Well, we're turning grade 5 na. Is enrolled with Penyel. Pero when I say independent method, I have my own style. Meaning to say, I still the curriculum. So I'm the type kasi who buys books. So it is in my interest to make sure that I want to go through all the books. But sometimes there are lessons that I overlook, no? Pero hindi ako yung rigid na kailangan 8 days. So the method is yours. It's up to you how you want to do it. Okay, if that's what you mean, independent method. So you're confused, what exactly does Penyel provide? So Penyel will provide the accreditations, meaning to say the parent will submit the grades to Penyel. Penyel will be the one to process the final report card or the Form 138 to DepEd. Sila yung mag-a-admin or do the legwork. All right? Now, will it be Penyel who will assess whether our kid will level up to the next grade level? No, it is the parent. If you put there all failing, the kid will fail. It's you, it's the parents. So it is in your best interest to make sure that your child really learned. Or their feedback is more of just the guidance for the parents. Yes, guidance talaga lang ang provider. They will guide you. Penyel has already a calendar of webinars, how you can plan a schedule and everything. But the teaching talaga is the primary, is the parent or the tutor. Mommy Kate, was I able to explain that? You can unmute your mic.
Thanks for answering. Thank you.
Okay, all right. See, okay, last 2 questions. Please post even if you leave, I will select everything, all questions, post it again. What is the difference of members and non-members? What are the advantages? Okay, like I said, Penyel is a homeschool provider. I happen to be a mom and whose son is enrolled also Penyel. What we have right now is the flying school bus. It's a homeschool community, right? So yearly we have a membership fee. So it's optional. We invite program providers to teach our homeschoolers. So it's optional to be a member, all right? You can still join, whether you're from Penyel, from another homeschool provider, independent. It's open to all homeschoolers. The advantage if you are a member is that you will get members rate. Meaning to say, if for example, the violin class for 1 full year is 5,000, pag member ka, parang 3,000 na lang siya. All right. Membership fee is 5,000 pesos per child for 1 full school year. All right. To be a member, if you're a member, like I said, you get members rate, and then you get free AllSat. AllSat is the assessment test that you take at the end of the school year. Okay. And at the same time, as a member, we will be creating a virtual co-op. So may support yan from each other. We will be inviting people to help us. And since we are a community also, we have the power of, power of group buy. We can negotiate. Parang I can tell this program provider, hey, there's 20 of us who want to join, so give us a better rate. So that's the power of the co-op. So Mommy Maureen, any question? Okay, so I think I'll have to take in one last question. Wait, let's see if there's anyone. Okay, all right. Okay, so the last is from, okay, lahat admissions questions na it's homeschooling is not, okay, I sent up. Okay, so I think this wraps up our conference. I don't want to take your Saturday. we will have another one. I'll try my best next Saturday. No, so if questions, please post it before you leave this chat group, so that I can copy and paste it on the homeschooling for first timers FB group. And like I said, last reminder, please go to flyingschoolbus.ph, input your email there so we can send you things that you need to know how to enroll. So that's it for today. So I hope I was, and my son will bless you somehow. 2 hours, 3 hours is not enough. But if there's one thing I pray for you today or this weekend, is that your family will have a consensus. It's really decision, all right, of why you should homeschool. A while ago, I said why you should homeschool is if it's COVID, that's well and good. Maybe after hearing son share, see, it was not really all academic. It's not like he shared what he learned in math. It's more of the outcome of what it is to homeschool. So my takeaway is that each child is unique. You can never compare your child to my son or other parents. I believe that each child has a unique God-given talents. So if there's anything in your homeschool journey, try to discover that along the way. Try to invest and nurture on the interests of your children. At the end of the day, it's about parenting. It's not just about academics. So I'd like to close in prayer for everyone. So if you just bow your heads, no, I know that God is listening to us. I feel your fear right now. I feel your fear. I feel your anxiety. I feel the pressure. I feel the fear of like transitioning. Some of you are probably confused. It was not easy for me as well, even if when we transitioned, it was a confirmation from God. You're jumping into uncharted territory, but then again, you are not alone. We are here as much as we can help you. There's a growing community. I hope you were able to encourage. So let's just close in prayer. Bow down your head. So Heavenly Father, we'd like to praise and thank you, Lord, for these parents, even the kids who joined us, Lord. You know, Lord, where they are in their lives right now. The fear of this pandemic, the uncertainty of our education system, Lord. But now I pray for wisdom, guidance. I prayed for strength. I pray for clear direction for each and every mom, dad, or kids watching right now, that you give them clear direction for this homeschool year. And I pray, Lord, it's not just about academics, Lord, that they will discover, Lord, most importantly in their journey, their relationship with you, their relationship with each other, and that will result to good relationship with others. So it's all about you, God. I pray fun in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Okay, so Joe, 3 hours na tayo, man. So believe, please type your message. And I want to say thank you so much. Bye. Share naman your videos.
Hello,
So,
Mommy Barbie.
Bye. Yes, sige, sige, Nick.
Yeah, can I just have a question? Really, it's okay. I can wait for you. It's very crucial lang kasi
Okay.
for my decision. I have to decide. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Nick.
Now na?
Yeah, sige. Andito
Yeah.
lang ako. Yung mga kailangan na
Sorry,
magluto.
Mommy.
Sige na. Thank you, guys. Everyone, Dad, can you unmute everything? Goodbye, everyone. Those who can still, sige, I'll stay a few more minutes here. Sige, Nate, I'll entertain your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Bye. I have to
Okay.
decide na kasi. I cannot.
Okay, Nate. Sige, sorry. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So, I narrowed down my choices already. So, I've come up na sa dalawa. Actually, kung hindi ako nakikinig sa inyo ngayon, naka-enroll na ako dun sa isa. But God maybe led me to this forum again. Now, I have a lot of questions because as of now, I'm pregnant. And then, syempre shifting from the normal to traditional to homeschool. Actually, I planned it last year pa. However, because of some excuses I had, so hindi ko. Ngayon na lang talaga. I am torn between you, the Pinyel, and the LLH. Kasi pareho naman kayo ng approach, pareho din Christian and everything. And then, sila lang kasi nagustuhan ko kasi yung Charlotte Mason approach nila. And I have a lot of reference already. So, medyo comfortable ako. But then, the thing that made me somehow decide ngayon, kasi because of the support group that you mentioned. And for me, as a beginner, I need that. Especially, I have no helper as of the moment. Kasi I have 2 kids and then I'm pregnant. So, I find it difficult. Now, my question was earlier na I know that we will make our own curriculum, di ba po? Yeah, I cannot hear you. We're making our own curriculum.
Actually, to clarify, no, Flying is not a homeschool provider. We are a homeschool community, homeschool co-op.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you were talking about Peñel. So it's a question about Peñel, tama ba?
Okay. So the curriculum I will make that, right? So ang tanong ko, yung sa Peñel ba na binibigay, like yung suggested na books nila, like meron ba dong ano yung gagawin mo, like per subject, or should I focus yung main subjects like English, math, and the rest in science and social studies will be done like open lang siya. Something like that. That's what I understand.
Okay. So once you...
Kasi ang naisip ko kasi... Naisip ko kasi pag kunyari, medyo gusto ko lang kasi na structured siya for me kasi beginner pa lang ako. So gusto ko like meron siyang program. Meron bang ibibigay ang Pinyel ng ganon? Kasi syempre nasa adjustment period pa ako. At the same time, yung flexibility ng tuturo ko sa dalawa. At the same time, I have the baby right now. Nanganak ako, baka mahirapan ako. So, I just need like a structure. Kung meron ba silang ibibigay na ganon.
Okay. So, basically, upon enrollment, they will already provide a list of books. The list of books that they will provide are aligned with the DepEd curriculum, meaning to say it will satisfy the learning or the learning competencies and skills that your child needs for that particular grade. They will have a training, I think nag-post na si Teacher Au, they will have a training on how to plan. Parang they will recommend how to schedule so that you have an idea nga naman how to do, let's say, Monday. These are all suggested, suggested plan. But then again, like I said, it's a nice starting point. Talagang, yun na talaga yung re-recommend ko. So, once you're enrolled, they will be giving webinars on how to jumpstart the journey. Parang Monday, ganyan. It's all suggested. But then again, the flexibility will come from you, meaning to say, kasi like for example, ako, when I have a full-time job, but Mondays I'm totally out of the home because I attend our management meeting. So, ang ginagawa ko, Sunday evening pa lang, tinuturo ko na yung bagong concepts. Tapos lahat ng ginagawa ng son ko, worksheets. So, to answer your question, there will be a training or webinar for first-time homeschool moms how to plan your full school year. So, there will be guidance talaga. Okay? Was I able to help you?
It comes with payment also. Yeah. It comes with payment. The webinars that you're gonna provide.
It's ano na yun, part of the, there's only one thing you need to pay sa Peñel, which is the tuition fee, and then if you're gonna get the books from them, that's additional.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the book, idea lang how much the book costs.
Actually, hindi ko pa nakita yung complete list as now. I have not seen the complete list of books, but last year, parang this is based on last year. Parang the books I bought from them ata was 7,000 to 10,000. That's complete na yun. But, like I said, you can be creative. There's PH Marketplace for homeschoolers. You can buy secondhand. No one will stop you from doing that. So, pag brand new books,
The book,
yeah,
you mean the books that they are recommending is all like textbooks from DepEd, something like that?
yes, they have a
Okay.
list of
Where
books.
can we find? Where can we find the list? So we would know kung kukunin ba namin or not.
The list of books will only be given to those who are enrolled. Kasi parang trade secret nila
okay.
yun eh.
Okay. I understand. Tapos, another question, yung iba ang homeschool provider mo, and then you want to be a member of Flying School Bus, yun yung mga binigay mo kanina, di ba? Bibigyan din kayo ng mga schedules like mga field trip, if COVID is already gone, hopefully. So, once you are enrolled in Flying School Bus, bibigyan ka ng mga schedules for the whole year.
Usually we do it on a monthly basis. Yung mga field trips on a monthly, but we will be having what you call this, music classes, arts classes on a quarterly and yearly basis na.
Excuse me, question.
Ma'am.
Sige. After Nate, another question. Sige.
If in case, just in case, Mami, I will get, for example, I will get the Pinyal recommended books just in set. Tapos diba nandun na mga quizzes and lahat ng mga graded something. So, every quarterly, as you mentioned earlier, may test. Then we will put it in a portfolio. And then, as of now, when quarterly, bibigay mo siya through USB or something like that. Or you can also do it like mail, like LBC to Pinyal.
Okay, so they will be, this is as far as the last year setup is. So quarterly, bibigay nila yung exam via email, right? And then, you just have to consolidate. You don't have to submit it back to them until the end of the school year. You will consolidate all the tests, the quarterly tests, the quizzes, the performance task at the end of the school year.
Okay. Thank you. That's my question so far. So if I have,
all right, I hope.
Yeah,
post it na lang. Yes, no problem. Sige. Thank you. You're welcome. There's another mom. Who was that? Susan, yes.
Okay. You mentioned ALSAT a while ago. Will it be given by Pinyal? Pinyal will be the one.
Okay. The ALSAT, sige. The ALSAT is from Flying School Bus. We're giving, if you will enroll to Pinyal through Flying School Bus, the ALSAT will be given to you for free by Flying School Bus. Okay? If you're not, if you are not part of, if you don't do that, it costs 1,600 pesos.
But then Pinyal is not giving ALSAT. So
no, they're not giving ALSAT. They're giving diagnostic test. Ang diagnostic test naman is entrance. They're not giving they're not giving ALSAT.
So what is their gauge at the end of the school year? Nothing. How will they know? How will they monitor parents as well?
It's the parents who will, the parents is the one who's gonna submit the grade. So it's yung ALSAT is optional, meaning to say if you're not with Pinyal, or you can it's free. It's suggested to do the ALSAT so you know where your child is weak at. So the assessment is in the burden is in the parents. Remember, you are the teacher. A homeschool provider is not a teacher. So maganda, I suggest you can actually do your you can do the ALSAT on your own, meaning to say you can probably, or there are other providers, they offer assessment pero on top pa rin siya ng tuition fee. So it's optional. For other providers kasi ginawa nila ito yung tuition fee plus may talagang kumbaga in-corporate nila, but it's a separate fee.
But for example, I am a mom, and then I have a sister. Can I also teach my niece or nephew? For a bachelor degree, ma'am. Kasi di ba ang requirements lang naman, as long as you are a bachelor degree holder, you can teach. If I teach for example, I teach my child and then I have one niece or two nephews, can I do that at the same time?
Yes, by all means. Like me, I teach my sisters. There's this really nice nasa ilalim pala ng laptop ko. One of my favorite things that I'm gonna be teaching to the Flying School Bus Co-op is this book called The Mystery of History. Mm-hmm. So I'm the one who teach it to my pamangkin. So yes, by all means. So that's the power of co-op. So I suggest if you have, let's say, if you know friends already in the same batch, ganun talaga that's how the community works. So if you think you're good in teaching math and then your nephews and nieces are also homeschooling, gather them. You be the one to teach. So yes, it's okay. So technically, pwedeng ang sasubmit mong parents' profile is yours, your diploma. But if the tita wants to teach the math or something, mas magaling siya, by all means, yes, you can teach other children. That would be really nice.
That's nice. Pero kung yung nagtuturo ng math, hindi siya pwedeng mag-submit ng report card, hindi siya pwedeng magsulat nun. Dadaan pa rin kung sino yung primary na nagtuturo. For example, I am the primary, so I'm going to consolidate the grades coming from the one teaching math and the one teaching science. Tapos ako yung liable doon. So parang, hindi man liable. So ikaw lang ang pipirma for all.
Yes. So as far as Peniel's application form is concerned, you will see a part there parang parent or tutor's profile. So sino yung primary teacher? So if you will outsource, for example, let's say math to a tutor, pero it's the mom who will do everything, most of it, I would suggest the mom should be the primary teacher. So like my sister, she's the primary teacher. She's the one who submitted her diploma, pero ina-outsource niya yung math tsaka English, which is okay. So it's the English teacher who gives the how do you say it, the grades to my sister, and that's what my sister puts on the report card.
But if you outsource, for example, math, kahit hindi na-graduate yun, kahit graduating pa lang, okay lang yun?
Yeah, yes. Because basically, it's the responsibility of the primary teacher to make sure. Kasi actually, there's a lot of like college students who are doing, how do you say it, sideline, yung nag-tutor sila because they're well-versed.
Oo, kasi it's better, especially kung high school, malapit yung age gap nila, di ba? Yeah. So, yung primary na lang ang magbabouch doon.
Yes. Yeah. So if, like for example, for me, I'm the primary teacher, but my eldest son who's in college likes to teach coding to my son, so by all means. So if there's such a thing in your family, so parang yun nga, like I said, family, focus on the relationship. So if there's any in your family immediate family members or outside who are willing to teach, by all means.
So ang problema lang kasi, paano mo ma-check kung ikaw yung primary teacher tapos hindi ka naman ganun kagaling sa math, paano mo ma-check kung tama yung work nung anak mo kung pinapaturuan mo lang dun sa tingin mo magaling? So, paano yung monitoring nun? Yun ang problema, yung monitoring eh. Paano
just like
tama nga yung especially mga algebra na.
Okay, just like in any, parang it's like if you're outsourcing with a tutor, syempre it is in the interest, remember, it is your child. So it is always in your interest to make sure that your child is learning. So if it means like really talagang may role talaga si mommy at daddy. Talagang if it means really checking the work, like syempre checking the work talaga, parang ito ba, naintindihan ba niya? And then a trusted tutor, I think, is also very important. So before you enroll with the tutor, I think it's important na how do you say it? Kilala siya, may good reputation. For me kasi, if there are two subjects that I think are very important for me. Those are math and English.
Yun nga
So do not shortchange your child with like yun nga, like my sister, my perfect example. So talagang kasi nabully yung pamangkin ko. So it's not like my sister wanted to homeschool. So I told her, you don't really have to teach math kasi grade 7 eh. So talagang kumuha siya ng tutor for math and then kumuha rin siya ng creative writing and grammar teacher for English because honestly, since I have a son who is in college, when they do a college entrance exam, I think the pinaka-critical dyan is the math skills and the writing skills. Mm-hmm. So do not miss out on these things. So talagang may tutok talaga si mom. Si mommy talaga si mommy or daddy. Talagang side by side. It's not kasi okay, when I transitioned from hindi ko na nakwento to kanina, but when my son was in traditional school, I was working full-time for a telco company for 8 years. So ako rin yung mindset ko, we enrolled you in a school, it's so expensive, so parang my mindset is, dapat matuto ka dyan, di ba? Ikaw na, parang mahal-mahal ng tuition fee mo eh. So yun yung mindset ko. But it ended up that, because it was a Chinese school, it ended up na may tutor, pinatututor pa rin namin siya sa Chinese, nag-NOP pa siya, tsaka common. Tapos, I ended up tutoring all the other subjects. Right? So we were paying na for Chinese, NOP. Tapos, of course, I came from work, I late and all. Tapos, parang, bakit ganun? So, my point is, how do you say it? You really have to partner also. You have to make sure na they're learning. So, that's one of the other reasons na parang, teka lang, when I met a lot of people na nag-homeschool from Ateneo, nag-homeschool sila because wala nang life yung mga anak nila. Pag uwi ng anak nila, tutor, Saturday, Sunday, tutor, and they were competing with other kids who are doing the same. So the kids did not have life anymore. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is, if there's any two things talaga, advice ko na ipa-tutor, if you really cannot teach, that will be math and English. And if you have the budget din naman to outsource everything, you outsource it with your trusted tutor. But as a mom, because if you're homeschooling already, you have to change your mindset. You have to be on top of your child's progress. Meaning to say, have a regular consultation with your tutor.
One last.
Okay,
the books that they are going to give in mathematics, meron niyang mga answer key. So, magandang monitoring na rin siguro. Hindi mo na ibibigay sa math tutor, tapos titingnan na lang yung answer ng bata ron kung tama. Pwede ba yon? Kasi may answer naman eh, di ba?
Yes. Yeah, may answer key naman siya. Tapos yun nga, may Khan Academy. So, you have to be resourceful and so, I think Daddy Phillip, okay na, Mommy Susan? Daddy Phillip lang will add.
Let me just add, I just want to add something. Okay. We get used to the concept of a teacher as nagtuturo eh. And that's how we look at teachers in the traditional school system. But you have to understand that being a teacher is not just giving instruction, because in this day and age, we can use other forms of instruction, like maybe YouTube, a video. You don't necessarily have to teach it if you can watch a medium of instruction like a video or some other tool, no? There's another aspect of being a teacher that's not really recognized, and that's one as a coach. So as mothers and parents become homeschool teachers, what we are trying to bring out is that side of you as a coach. It's that coach that is more valuable really than being teachers. That's the reason why we choose to tutor, because a teacher who has 40 students cannot motivate, inspire, and guide 40 students. But as parents, pwedeng one-on-one. When as a coach, we motivate, we monitor. You don't need to know all the details of algebra, calculus, or strong math, no? Because eventually you'll be able to find the answer, and you'll find it in the curriculum books, my answer key. You can just check, did you get it right? Without even knowing anything, any math. right? And that's where the tutors come in. But your goal really is to motivate the children. Kaya yan, anak. You can do it. You know, there will be days then you will be down. In fact, I would advise all the parents who are listening, both husbands and wives, or if you're a single parent, no, that instead of focusing on the academics, no, the first thing you're gonna discover, it's not really about academics. The first thing you're gonna discover is it's about character, not even the child's character. It may be about your character as a parent. Because once you go in, that's where you're gonna see that you guys may have character problems. Maybe you're impatient. Maybe you have a quick temper. Maybe you are very hard to listen. You don't listen to your children. Your children may also have character problems. Now in homeschooling, because you are in a situation where you have to deal with your family member, whatever problems are there, it will come to the surface. So on year one, you'll have the opportunity to deal with it. Whereas if you're in the traditional school system, all these things are usually hidden because father is busy with work, mother does not really have to deal with children. Children have their own lives. So all these character issues are hidden. But through homeschooling, all these things become obvious and evident. And that's where you have the opportunity to deal with it. We believe that it's one way we deal with it is we have a relationship with God and He can change us. Identifying the problems is the first step to solving problems. And often the problems are character, relationship. So if you don't have a good relationship with your children, they don't listen to you, you're going to have problems. So homeschooling on year one, the first step is to establish a relationship so that you can work together. Because if you don't listen, you don't know how to listen, you're impatient, and vice versa, your children don't listen and they're impatient, no academic work will get done, will be accomplished. First, we want to work with you as a person. Are you patient? Are you willing to listen? Is your student patient? Is he also listening? So these are the more basic issues. By year two, if you get that and you mature in that area, academics will begin to fall into place. I hope that helps because there's a tendency to be overly focused on academics, not realizing that when you have the character in place, maturity, that will provide the drive and the discipline for academics. But without that, it's panay pokpok, you're forcing people, and it won't be enjoyable. The purpose really is to create an enjoyable, safe, and peaceful environment where kids have the confidence to grow and know that whether they fail academically or not, they're loved and they are supported by their parents. And that's a problem with the school system. With all the competition, it's no longer about that. It's more about grades, and their value as people is defined by their grades or whether they get awards. No? And that's not what we want them to know, that our kids, that we love them regardless of what has happened. We love them, we support them. And once they are secure in our love as parents, that will be that foundation on which they can succeed, and there will be motivation. In other words, it's based on a foundation of love rather than a foundation of fear. The school system often is based on fear, that if you fail, there's embarrassment, there's humiliation. But here in the homeschooling, we want to establish our love, that, child, no matter what happens, I'm going to stick with you. I'm here because I love you. Doesn't matter if you don't get the lesson. What matters is I love you. From that foundation, there will be motivation on their own. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you don't even need to teach them. Panay coaching na lang. See, you want to get to that point. In the early years, you're instructing, but later on, you're more of coaching. You won't even keep up with their math and all the stuff that they're learning because they're self-learning. What's important is to keep them motivated. And motivation comes from an atmosphere of safety. They feel safe, they feel loved, and they feel like they're accepted regardless of their situation. Once they have that environment, they will thrive academically. Just my 2 cents, bro. So.
Hello.
Go ahead, Mommy Christine.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry. I just really would like to know how my son is a differently abled learner. He's in incoming grade 7, currently studies in a progressive school. So he attends this regular class, and he gets pulled out during math and English. So he goes to this special ed teacher, one-on-one, teaches him on those subjects. And then during assessments, quarterly exams. There are modifications on his exams. Something like the teacher explains to him clearly the instructions, the questions, and then out of 100, he has, like, let's say he can answer only 50 items, and then, or something like that. So those are the modifications, some of the modifications given to him as a differently abled learner. Now, going into this homeschool program, I'm terribly afraid na I won't be able to, to teach a special needs child, considering that I'll be a first time teacher, and then he has these special needs. So how does a SPED, or a special needs child, fit into the homeschooling, Peniel, everything system? Do they have a special assessment for him? Is there any modification? How would he learn? Does he have to compete with, or at least be at par with the learnings of the kids in his grade level, or something like that? Because I'm really just, so lost and confused with this whole thing.
Okay, thanks, Mami Cristino. So your question kasi is more directed to the provider, but I can only share as far as I know. But as far as Peniel is concerned, on their application form talaga, you will see there if the child is SPED student. So there are already parang a few people who've submitted assessment from their developmental pedia doctors, no? So normally, because I have not encountered din, I haven't met someone yung diretso sa Peniel. Si Peniel talaga will guide the parents if the child is a SPED student. So they'll probably give a more special curriculum. So there's a guidance counselor that will help you. Now ako naman, if ang advice ko, because I've met a lot of homeschoolers with SPED students, no? Yung iba talagang the spectrum is so advanced, or medyo yun nga may learning different kind of learning disability or something. Most of them, they especially if the parents cannot teach, they really get someone, yung SPED trained tutor. Yeah. So that's what I do probably. Yeah. So I guess my question is, my advice for you is, if you want, try to contact your choice provider and then ask them if they have the SPED. As far as Peniel is concerned, I know they have a SPED. May parang part of the requirements yon kung SPED. Once ma-identify nila na SPED yung child mode, I think they'll be giving a special guidance for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
On how to go about it. But if ako naman, if whatever they give you also, my advice is, if you are unable to teach certain subjects, because honestly naman, not all parents naman talaga can teach everything. Like honestly, I cannot teach Filipino. I'm on my 6th year. My son already graduated my college, but I don't think I could say na I taught him everything. I don't think he even knows pandiwa, pang-abay. Hanggang ngayon, bulol pa rin siya mag-Tagalog. So what I'm trying to say is, it's okay to outsource your child's parang teachers. So I hope I was able to Mami Christine. Pero if it's a big concern for you, I would really suggest, kasi it's directed na to a provider. I suggest you can call naman parang you can probably explain your how old is your son and so on and so forth. But yun nga, it's part of their application, and I think they will give special guidance also.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. So kindly,
Mami, last na talaga. Mami.
Oh, yes.
Mami,
Okay.
last. Mami, as I said earlier, what is your advantage from the other learning provider also? Ano yung advantage ng flying school Pinyel or Pinyel under school bus, ano yung advantage nyo? Why will we choose you? Something like that.
Okay, clarify again. Flying school bus is not a homeschool provider. Penyel is the homeschool provider. So we've partnered with them in terms of parang catching the first timers who want to join our community. So Flying School Bus has a separate set of activities. We will be providing yung mga mape, yun. So just to clarify. So Penyel, ito yung advantage because my son is enrolled with Penyel. I'd rather speak of the things that work out for my family. Siguro ganito na lang, I'll guide you guys. If you're shopping for a homeschool provider, things to consider, okay. Siyempre, andyan yung finance. Magkano yung kay Penyel, magkano yung sa ibang providers. Okay, then apples to apples. And even compare it to your traditional school. Example, traditional mo, 100,000. Isang child mo, Penyel, 18,000. So that's ano. Siyempre, list of the advantages. What are the services offered? Now, for me, honestly, for other homeschool providers, I'm not sure how it works, but for Penyel kasi, at least there's only one deadline I am looking at, which is the end of the school year. That's the only time I have to submit my report card and my portfolio. Okay? Because ask other providers if there's any quarterly, monthly, because if I'm not mistaken, there are some, although hindi kasi ako well-versed, no, but there are some providers kasi na it also has to follow the structure of the school. Meaning to say, nasa bahay ka, pero parang ito yung homeschool program, ito yung traditional. Yung sa traditional, kailangan matapos nila yung quarterly test by September, meaning to say, ikaw kailangan mo na rin matapos by September. So, yung flexibility nawawala. It's literally taking the homeschool at home. So, there's no flexibility on that. Unless gusto nyo yung schedule na yon. So, it will depend on your family. Ako, ayoko yon. Another thing, there are homeschool providers na it's not open curriculum, meaning to say, whether you like it or not, you buy their curriculum. I like Penyel because they're open curriculum. Because if I'm not happy with this, kunyari, I'm not happy with this publisher, I don't like the style of the books nila, I can always buy another one. I have the option to do that. In fact, I even have the option to do online. I don't even have to buy books if I don't like. So that's the beauty of yung Penyel. I like the open curriculum. Tapos, of course, the pricing, it's very affordable. And then I like it that the only deadline I'm looking at is at the end of the year. So given those three, meaning to say, ask other providers if they are closed curriculum, kung tama ba yung term na yon, or if they have, at saka they have a long history. They're known in the community already. And that's it. That will be my reason. And for now.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Kasi there's two things nga na I am considering. So, I clarified it already kanina. Even if I'm from a different provider, not Pinyel, but I can still be, what do you call this? I can be in flying school bus pa naman.
Yes,
I will just pay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
which is like 5,000 for a year.
Yeah, for 1 year, yeah. Yeah.
Pero po, how about ngayon? Because the pandemic's still there. So, paano yung proposal ng mga field trips? So, kunyari, mag-enroll ako ng ibang provider sa Pinyel, paano yung 5,000 na ipipay ko? Masasayang ba siya? Kasi hindi tayo makakalabas, something like that.
Okay, so right now, almost all the programs are definitely online. So yung field trips, I cannot say yet if we will be able to do that in the near future. So we will post naman the activities once it's all in the pipeline. So we might start medyo July to August because officially DepEd starts on August 24. But if you're homeschooling and you're already enrolled, or even if you're not yet enrolled, by all means, if you have the resources, by all means, no one is stopping you from starting your homeschool journey. So that's the beauty, meaning to say, by all means, you can, if you have a grade 1 who loves to do math, by all means, that happened to me. In grade 1 yung son ko, parang in 3 months, tapos na niya yung math book niya. So that's the beauty. All right?
So you have the flying school bus as of now. Meron na silang program na it may be online or whatever. Meron na din silang extra na nakaantabay lang.
Yes, we're finalizing everything with the providers because almost all the providers are shifting online. So dati kasi yung it's something that we physically go to, let's say the coding academy and so on, the coding in San Juan, the digital arts in so now everyone is shifting their learning through online platforms. So up until it's been how do you say it, na iron out na, that's when we will release and all the programs, and you assess if all the online programs are worth investing the 5,000. But then again, you can still join the activities even if you're not a member. You just have to pay the non-members rate per activity.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. That was
okay.
So helpful.
All right.
Thank you.
God bless you and your baby. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.